up, Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up!
Y'all got Kool-Aid
I'm
high.
fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener. Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm. Because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
We'll still glaze some cats, right? Yo, hey, what up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate y'all for choosing to kick off the day with the Woo crew, man. It's your boy Brandon Dan, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter, writer for the network, Flannel Sam, the veteran squad, veteran network, Red Wings correspondent, all sports knower, and a cleanly shaven and well-manicured gentleman. Shout out to
Thank you, Riley Greene. And if he didn't do it the other day, I would have been able to do it today because he hit a couple last night. And a losing effort, unfortunately. But Riley Greene does appear to be back.
Riley Greene
officially.
being back. Hey, it's a good thing for these Detroit Tigers
100%.
who have, you know what, they have found a way to pick up their brothers. If Riley Greene or Scoobs don't have it, this team still is going out there and putting together complete efforts as a team. Yeah. And we see it as it reflects in the standings as well. But, hey, shout out to our brother Matthew Broder. Shout out to KG. We'll be here soon. But we got Kavasi Chase and Sounds. Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth, JB Smooth, and that dude Justin's in the building as well. But you want to tell the people what we got on the menu?
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit of Tigers. Unfortunately, they did lose Game 1 at Houston, but it's also coming off of an 8-2 homestand in which they swept the Orioles and they took 2 out of 3 from San Diego. We cannot ignore that. Are they for real contenders or are they not? Are they a piece away? We'll discuss that in a little bit. We've also got to discuss friend of the network, Ari Meirov from the 33rd team had some comments about the Lions draft. I think you'd be interested to hear those. And also, Game 5, quick turnaround, is tonight. Do the Pistons stave off elimination and bring it back to LCA, or do they not? We will talk about it. We will preview it. And I actually have a lot of power stats to bring you guys to really put to bed any sort of Cade hate even more. But
oh boy.
First,
I do have one question for you and the chat family. You nervous at all? You feeling it?
I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course I am.
Because I remember when we were playing the Bucks. And that fourth game was just like, okay, thank you. This is nice. But this is one in which, you know, I just want people to remember that. The reason why you have such polarizing takes on both sides of the things and people getting heated is because everybody knows this one matters and that what happened this year, no matter what, is real. But I do believe this team is going to have a puncher's chance, and we're going to talk about it. But Flannel Sam, you owe somebody an apology?
Yes, I do. 100% I do. All right, so I'll be honest. I might even be just a little bit vulnerable, but I promise I'm not going to cry. About a week ago or so, I made what I feel to be my biggest professional blunder. And before you guys tell me about all of my many, stop typing. I understand.
I don't think they're going to listen to you.
Really?
They're typing fast.
Listen to me? They always do. No, but for real. I was very, very fan hurt by Riley Greene's awful slump that he had, in which he was 7 for 50. He had a 7 for 55 stretch at one point with 7 singles, by the way, 0 extra base hits. He went almost 3 weeks without a single extra base hit. And at that time, his average had dipped to 217, his on-base percentage to 265, and his OPS to 624. And I put on Twitter after the Tigers had lost 2-0 to the Padres and Riley Greene went 0 for 4 again. A game I was at, by the way, and was in physical agony every time Riley Greene would make an out. I said Riley Greene should be benched. He's the worst. He's the worst player on the Tigers right now. And then the next day on this show, when I was really, really fan hurt, and it was quite an eventful show for yours truly, I said that the minors are not out of the question, given the fact that McKinstry's playing so well, Kerry Carpenter was playing so well. You might get Parker Meadows and Matt Vierling back soon. And if Riley Greene continued on that path, he might end up playing himself to where you almost have no choice. He was really, really close to that OPS starting with the 5. And of course, I let some of you guys in the chat and some of you trolls on Twitter actually wear me down to where it's like, enough, you might just win. But what Riley Greene has done ever since then, because of course he does, is have 5 really good games for the most part, hit 3 home runs in those games, and in that stretch, he has upped his average by 17 points, his on-base percentage by 15, and his OPS by a whopping 97, because we all know home runs really do wonders for your slugging percentage, and he hit a couple last night. A couple of opposite field bombs. I wouldn't even call them bombs. One of them might have been a little bit of a cheapie, but that's neither here nor there. Riley Greene hit a couple of home runs, really took advantage of the fact that in Houston, if you can go oppo as a lefty, that Crawford box, it's pretty enticing. I will just say that. And JB, do you know what else was activated last night if you've got that one? Detroit, Riley Greene playing in Houston. Got those numbers for me, JB?
I think I do.
That StatMuse graphic.
Yep.
Riley Greene, in his career at Houston, has a .448 batting average with 13 hits, 5 home runs, 10 RBIs, and 9 runs scored in 7 games versus the Astros on the road in his career. The reason why I feel like I have to give a mea culpa is right now I should be taking the biggest victory lap in the world. I should be having my erect penis on the table right now saying, ha!
Whoa.
But I can't.
Boner
because
alert.
I fed into some of those narratives that I shouldn't have. I should have realized that it was April baseball, and for that, Riley Greene, I am truly, truly sorry.
I know that JB Smooth can cook up, but would you be able to block that fast enough?
I don't know if I can do that.
Well,
JB, are you a cock blocker?
I'm never going to admit that.
Professional cock
Hey, he's called fast for a reason, Kool-Aid. I think he could get it up.
Oh my God. No.
Yes.
Big musket, boy.
I can't believe you turned your back on Riley Greene like that, considering the way that this network operates. And if you even turn your back on anyone for a second,
I understand.
you are called out. You are a hater. You are preying on their downfall. And to go against one of your favorite players like that and not die on the hill is so intriguing to me that you got pushed to this point, mostly by the network, to put you on this island. And
Not us here.
thank God that Riley Greene has snapped back into reality and been that elite hitter for these last couple of games that we know him to be. But man, Flannel, I can't lie. I don't know if you'd ever catch me doing the same thing to like Dylan Larkin. That'd be the equivalent for me.
No, that's
I will
fair.
go down
Hey.
with the ship.
Go ahead.
With Dylan Larkin.
I will say, if Riley Greene was still slumping, we'd see Sam looking like Tom Hanks in Castaway mixed with James Franco in 127 hours.
100%.
Because he would be looking rough with one arm for his man. So
Yeah.
he didn't completely abandon the ship.
No, he's definitely still my favorite Tiger, no question about it. It's just that I got a little bit too much into my fandom. I was hurt. I felt disappointed, and I made some comments that I shouldn't have. However, to make this up to my man Riley Greene, I declare that the second Riley Greene's OPS hits over 800, I will buy his jersey and I will wear it every single day for the rest of the baseball season.
Oh, wow.
Every single day. Dead ass.
Wow.
Okay.
It's going to be annoying watching the jersey
Including
all the time.
weekends.
Baseball. is
Including weekends.
Every single show thank you, Chase. Every single show for the rest of baseball season, even when it goes into Lions season, however long that they last in the playoffs, should they get there, which I think they will, I will continue to wear that Riley Greene jersey every single day. However, I did say not now when his OPS does hit 800, because despite all that he's done in the last 5 games and last night, his numbers are still down across the board. It's just in April, you get one hot streak where you hit a couple of home runs and your numbers just skyrocket out of the stratosphere. But I should have recognized that. I mean, look at last year. Colt Keith had a horrific April, but then by the end of the year, his numbers looked really, really good.
Well, look, we gave Torkelson all of the first half of last season. I'm definitely giving Riley Greene at least that much time. especially after earning his first All-Star. And that's where it was like, trust me, for you, it was probably a situation of almost being too close to the situation.
Absolutely.
And you start to press because you want to see your homie, your godson, get off the snide. That's why, that's why Kavasi and Chase called it out. That's why you went to such grave lengths. You were even going to cut off limbs to try and get Riley Greene back right. But as long as I've been watching baseball, man, it's with those types of players, you know that they're going to get it right eventually. And I don't think that this is the last time he's going to go through like a cold slump before summer really hits and we see Riley Greene be that all-star caliber player on a more consistent basis. And then we will see Flannel Sam wearing that jersey.
100%.
I'm predicting in that time. Summertime is when I do believe you're going to see Riley Greene really take off. And not just him, the Tigers. That's what's so, and I know we're going to talk about it more in the next segment, but that's what's so powerful about what this team is doing right now. While they're allowing players to get healthy, while they're allowing players to figure it out at the plate who haven't yet, this team is still going out there and largely either keeping pace with some of the lofty expectations or exceeding the majority of everyone else's expectations.
I have a question, Sam.
Yeah.
So is it hits 800 OPS and has to like maintain above it, or if like he hits 800 OPS and then he dips below it, you're still going to be wearing the jersey every game the rest of the year?
I'll still be wearing the jersey.
Okay, so
like,
if it touches 800, like that's just the qualification to get it and wear it for the rest of the season?
Rest of the season.
Okay.
And that's what I own, because like maybe I blew the Riley Greene maybe detractors from last year, but trust me, I had the big fight with a Terry Foster. They existed, and I defended him like he was my family member. So I owe Riley Greene that, because I will always be the biggest Riley Greene defender in this city, but I was definitely going through it for a while there. I know KG made a joke about like Eminem and Stan. It's like, hey, Riley, I thought you were an all-star, but you were 1 for 31. I was going through it. So I was not in a good place of mind.
And I see you, Freddie fell 313. 199 super chat. He says erect pin 15. Literally, that's what he puts.
But I can't victory lap. It pains me that I can't victory lap, but I'm self-aware enough to realize that I did jump off for a second.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the chat family here too. Phil, Riley Greene coming back. Bitcon 51, he was playing bad and deserved it.
He didn't deserve minors talk. That's where that's my regret that I even said the word minors. That's where I just am like, I wish I could go back and smack myself.
The real K77, Javier Baez is continuing his bounce back season.
No, he's played real well.
But you know what, man? When you're looking at Riley Greene, when you're looking at this team, I'm telling you, I believe that we're going to see a Riley Greene that's going to be someone that helps the Detroit Tigers lock up this division in the second half of the season. That's what I do believe we're going to get. And that's why I'm glad that you're doing this jersey chase, because you're going to have a lot of opportunities where we are cheering on what he's doing to help put this thing away. To see those 2 home runs, it's not just those 2 home runs. It's kind of what you're starting to see him do. When you're able to locate the ball in several different games and knock it out the park, that to me shows that whatever was going on up top, he's starting to figure it out. We know he's an all-star. We know he can swing. We know he has the talent. So whenever he doesn't have it figured out, it's either because it's too cold or either because something is going on up top, or maybe you put yourself on the map and now it's going to take a little bit of time to adjust to what your pitchers are going to do to you. Now all of a sudden, Riley Greene, bro, you're showing up in people's scouting reports even more so now when people are rolling up, because I know how these stat packets go. Like I've shown you the stat packets from the teams. You have to understand, when the media and the other team, when they're going through their stuff, they're looking at Scooble and they're looking at Riley Greene. They're like, oh, snap. You know what? It wasn't the years prior. It wasn't that prior. That's what I'm saying. So Riley Greene now is in this kind of uncharted territory where I do believe he's having to go through the normal kind of ups and downs of fickle normal baseball, especially early season. And he's also going through the fact that he's an all-star and there are expectations now. This is a different place for him and Scooble. Neither one of them as stars and as the leaders of this team have been here right now. And and that's why I keep going back to the fact that I'm grateful that the squad to this point, no matter their ups and downs, have been able to carry the squad, have been able to lift up the team overall.
Well, that's the thing. They're not upstarts anymore. Like Tarek Skubal won a Cy Young, and now he's got expectations as the Tigers are probably going to need that or maybe 90% of that from him this year in order to get back to the playoffs. Same with Riley Greene. He was on the rise, but then last year it's like, wow, he has arrived. He's an all-star. He led the Tigers in every major stat category on a team that made the playoffs. And then at the beginning of this season, Riley Greene struggled quite a bit. He was amazing in his first 9 games, but then, like I said, had that just awful stretch in which he looked pretty much unrecognizable. But he looks to have gotten it back, and for Riley, even though the slump ended before that, there's something about playing in Houston that just gets him going, because his numbers in Houston, if he didn't break his slump before then, he would have broken it now. So a shout out to Riley Greene, and we all know that the Tigers are certainly going to need him to be about what he was last year, or maybe even more, for the Tigers to reach their expectations this year. But speaking of which, the Detroit Tigers, shout out Justin, have the best record in the American League.
By a full game over those Yankees.
By a full game. And we're going to talk about it on the other side of the break. And I want you guys to enter this in the chat as well. Are the Detroit Tigers, and I know it's early, I know it's April, are they true World Series contenders, or do they still need more, or will water find its level?
Bro, KG had 86 wins? You had 87?
87.
You had 87, he had 88, 91. Bro, we might all be wrong.
We might all be wrong. They're at a over 100 win pace right now. Am I saying it's going to stay that way? Probably not, but who knows? I wouldn't count them out. Tell us about Buddy's Pizza.
I will tell you about Buddy's Pizza, you guys. If you're talking about lunch, it's got to be Buddy's. If you're talking about the Pistons game tonight, it's got to be Buddy's. Whether you're going to a Buddy's to watch it, shout out to the watch party we had. It was pretty epic. Our first dual stream NFL draft and NBA playoff watch party at the same dang time. And you already know the food was on point because it was Buddy's. So get to Buddy's and make sure you get that mobile app today so that you can start to get those points and work your way to some free pizza. And while you're doing that, until you get to that free pizza, until you get those points, make sure you're using the code 10MEAL. That's the number 10MEAL, so that you can save 10% off your entire order. It's Buddy's Pizza. It's a Detroit style pizza. It's original. It's a classic. Get there today.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Hey, it's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. You know what? They got 50-plus Metro Detroit locations. And you know what? If you're trying to get in shape on the cheap, especially with summer coming up, they've got memberships that start at $15 a month, or you can upgrade to the Black Card, where you get all kinds of amenities, such as being able to go to all Planet Fitnesses across the world for only $24.99 per month. It's about to be Beachbody season. What are we doing? If you need to shed a couple pounds or to just bulk up a little bit and you're on a budget, It's Planet Fitness. And even if you're not on a budget, save money for everything else. You don't need one of those crazy expensive gyms that isn't even as good as Planet Fitness anyway. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
What up, though, people? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward. And chat family, as always, you all are the most important part of this thing. So go on ahead, smash that like button. Let's run it up, and get the good mojo going early while we're hoping that the Detroit Pistons out there on the East Coast in New York can have some similar luck like they did during the regular season and get a dub in Madison Square. Hey, you know what? They already got one of those in the playoffs. But JB Smooth, Woodward Sports MVP, I think we got some super chats to clean up.
Oh, yes, we do. Some super chats. Shout out to everyone sending in super chats. $9.99 from our guy, Dante151. He said, I do love Greene's home run song, which is Square Dance by Eminem, which is a banger. This is so freaking baller. Also, I had the Tigers going 90 and 72 with Greene and Torkelson hitting 25 plus home runs. So that is looking pretty good.
I mean, low-key, even though Riley Greene's had a bit of a struggle in a lot of the month of April, he has 6 April home runs. That's almost a 40 home run pace. So shout out to him. People who wanted to see him have more power, you're getting that at least.
I took him for 30 plus.
Still would like, the one thing though that I still want to see is I want to see him take more walks.
Yeah.
Even when he's gotten hot, I still haven't seen that amazing plate discipline that really made me fall in love with him as a player, but that'll come.
It will come, man. And you know, I see Big Con 51. I think this is a pretty cool segue for what we're going to talk about. He says, I called 100 wins in World Series before the season. And if you're looking at the standings right now, it's not just that the Detroit Tigers are full game ahead of everybody else in the AL, but they're just 2 games behind as it relates to the league just in general. Those are your Detroit Tigers, and that's how hot they've been. They beat some of the best in the NL and in the AL to start the season. And right now, they're just simply behind the Mets, the Giants, the Dodgers, and then your Detroit Tigers. And you know what's interesting, who they're ahead of? The Padres and the Yankees are the next 2 teams that they're ahead of, and we know how the Detroit Tigers handled them early in the season. So as this thing continues to go on, they've already gotten some staples and some narrative wins, which should boost their confidence and honestly reset whatever expectations. If it wasn't prior in that own locker room, it should definitely reset expectations because they've proven to be amongst some of the league's best. And guys, we know that we're still waiting for some of the Tigers' best to get back from injury as well. So we gotta ask, Big Con 51 is saying World Series, and the way that they're looking right now, they're gonna have a good shot if this continues. What say ye, Flannel Sam?
They are absolutely contenders, and the biggest reason why is what I'm about to show you right now. Look at the ERA of the Tigers' starting pitchers. Casey Mize 212, Tarek Skubal 234, Jackson Jobe 270, Reese Olson 329, Jack Flaherty, despite last night's disappointing outing in which they couldn't hold a 3-0 lead, still at 334. This is a World Series caliber staff, and it's anchored. Yeah,
you missed the number. $24.99 because that's like porn to me.
Oh, it absolutely is. Absolutely. And it's anchored, of course, by Tarek Skubal, who is right back in the mix of where we thought he would be. 2.34 ERA. And shout out Casey Mize. Good grief, 2.12. Do I think that's going to continue? I don't know about that, but you know what?
If it does, though.
But here's the thing. Even if we didn't expect all like Jackson Jobe or Casey Mize to be that yet, we did expect this pitching staff to be really damn good. We expected the Tigers to potentially have one of the best starting staffs in Major League Baseball. And right now they have the best starting pitching staff in Major League Baseball. But you know what else? The Detroit Tigers have the #1 bullpen ERA in the whole bleeping American League.
Talk about it.
You know who you have to give some credit to that for? Freaking Scott Harris. Tommy Kahnle and John Brebbia have been pitching very well out of the bullpen this year. You look at someone like Will Vest as well, who's been super dynamic. You know what? That's fair, Justin. I'm not even going to try to deny that. He has been otherworldly. Tyler Holton, actually, his numbers are a little bit down to what we're used to, but that's not going to last for longer. Brennan Hanafy's been amazing. Brant Herter has been very good as well. But also, we've seen lately a couple of guys they were stashing in the minor leagues. One of them who was really good last year, Sean Gunther's up, pitching well. Chase Lee up and pitching well. This is a World Series pitching staff. And honestly, if you're going to have one thing as a baseball team, if you have a World Series pitching staff, you can beat anybody on any given day.
And that was the reason why we did believe that this Tigers team had an opportunity to win the division this year. I expected growth from the squad. And it feels like we're approaching that just trust in Harris status. We talked about how Brad Holmes has earned that, and we see J.B. Bickerstaff and Trajan Langdon working towards that. And I do believe A.J. Hinch and Harris, they're there. They're there. You talk about making the playoffs last year. You're talking about the small tweaks you made at the trade deadline that got the baseball world super polarized over what they were doing, and they didn't even do anything big. That was one of the craziest things about what the Tigers did, and I think that's becoming more and more and more a part of their identity. They can move weight without necessarily having to make the most amount of noise. And the Detroit Tigers are doing that. They just quietly, you look at the standings, it's like, wow, they're at the top of everything right now. And they're doing this in ways that if you would have told me, I would have thought we would have had to be healthy from the start of the season. I would have believed that the starting is doing what it's doing right now. I mean, the pitching, but it seems to be even better than I believed. Like the visions in which you say, you know what, oh man, if the pitching staff can be this, it's like, wait, they're actually that right now. The only question is, does it maintain? We know last year, and baseball is a fickle sport, went through a little bit of a lull, but these guys have proven that they're better than that, and they were able to pull themselves out of that lull. I expect the same this year, and I believe they're giving themselves a much better padding, a much better foundation over what we saw last season, and they believe in themselves. It looks like a squad that knows what they are, and that's where when you do bring up Scott Harris, that's where I'm like, you trust in what he's doing, and those players are going out there with full confidence, and they're proving it right now. 18 and 11.
The foundation of both staffs in the bullpen and the starting pitching rotation is the fact that they are so deep. You have 4 starters behind Skubal that could arguably be a number 2 on most teams in the MLB. That's how good this starting rotation is. You have multiple guys who you can put in high leverage situations coming out of your bullpen and having the versatility of righty lefty no matter who you want to take that matchup. And that's why this team is just so built for A.J. Hinch, and they are so good at playing with their versatility. This team is already a contender to win the AL, no doubt about that in my opinion. You are one right-handed bat away from being a true World Series contender, having a lineup that isn't susceptible to lefties because you are missing that one more power bat on the right-hand side. You have so much depth when it comes to hitting off right-handed pitching when you have all your lefties in the lineup, but you just need that one more bat. You've seen the difference that Gleyber Torres has made against left-handed pitching. Imagine if you just have one more bat in this lineup and you are going 9 deep of guys who have above 700 OPS. That is exactly how you win a World Series, and that's why when this trade deadline comes along, and I know that's far away, but if this pace continues and we're able to stay consistent, which I think we will because of how deep our pitching staff is, even if we have a little bit of inconsistency here and there, I think that we're going to be buyers, and I think we're going to be one of the teams that's there at the end to have a chance to win this World Series.
I wonder what buyers looks like for Scott Harris and for Chris Ilitch, because I do believe this. I don't want to pigeonhole or back Scott Harris into a corner. I believe we've now seen they've knocked on the door and been willing to drop some big money. And so now, if the reports were never that they knocked on the door of Bregman, literally made an offer, literally were like, hey, we're just what I think Bregman wanted his out in the deal, I think a year earlier or a year, and the Tigers just weren't going to budge on that, and I appreciate that from them. But now that we know that they're willing to spend the money, now I'm intrigued on what buying means for them. Because before, buying would have meant, probably getting some small ball pitcher that A.J. Hinch is able to go and manipulate within this lineup. Now I am wondering, is it actually them going out there and finding one more of those bats to solidify themselves as they go down the stretch? Because is it just getting to the playoffs this year? Think about what this squad did last year to push the Guardians. And that's where I'm hoping that the version of buy this season is one that does help to push this team really over the top.
Yeah, and I think that's why now that you're seeing rumors like there's been rumors about Bo Bichette and the Tigers being in conversation, that's actually has validity to it. And you know that Scott Harris is doing his due diligence and making offers and trying to make that work because of the fact that you saw he did that work with Bregman. and he continued to do great things that only add to this team without taking away from our farm system. So I have complete total faith with Sky Harris. I think that he's getting to the point where he has that Brad Holmes level of confidence from the city of Detroit, that we trust him in that regard, that he's going to make the right move and not overpay for a player that might hinder our future.
I mean, I'll tell you what, Justin, I'm not as big a fan of Bo Bichette, the player, as some in the last couple of years have kind of been rough. Last year was very rough. This year he has no power. However, Trey Sweeney could end up being a black hole in this lineup, and he already is to some extent. And it's no disrespect. It's just the only reason he's in the lineup every day is he can play shortstop, which is a valuable skill, but
which he did not do a very good job of last night.
Certainly not last night.
Offensively and defensively.
I saw some in the chat family already talking about we got to get rid of the errors. It cost him a little bit last year.
I mean, yeah, but I'm not going to kill the team for a loss at Houston. They could have done more. Jack Flaherty could have been better. Trey Sweeney certainly has to play a better shortstop, but you can't win every game.
It was a snowball effect.
100%.
It was the errors, and then it was Flaherty leaving a couple pitches in the middle of the plate.
I think it's just the regression of baseball sometimes, especially when you get on those heaters, and then it just pops you one. And me personally, I still expect the Tigers to go and win the series.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
sure.
the confidence they've definitely instilled.
Sure, yeah, I'm at the point where I expect them to win almost every series. Unless they go to Yankee Stadium or maybe Dodger Stadium, which already got swept at Dodger Stadium, I pretty much expect them to win. And even at Yankee Stadium, because the Yankees pitching staff is suspect. I will just say that.
It took them forever to lose a first game of a series. So
hey, for sure. But I think the big question is, I don't think the question is the pitching staff. I think it's, do they have enough in the lineup? And I'm looking at a couple of guys. There's a couple of guys I expect a regression from, and this isn't hate whatsoever. I think it's just normal. Zach McKinstry has been an absolute revelation.
Man.
When you ask who's the team leader in batting average, on base percentage, and hits, it's Zach McKinstry. Zach McKinstry is an all-star right now, if the all-star break wasn't today. Do I expect those numbers to keep up to where they are? No, but he could still be valuable. Same with Javi Baez. Javi Baez is hitting damn near 300 at this point, which is insane. And you can't deny that he has well overshot the expectations that we had for him going into the year.
Maybe we should all get hip replacements.
Yeah.
I might need one after
for real.
None of us wanted him on the team, and I think for good reason. But he's been good.
He's serviceable in center field,
Absolutely.
too. Obviously, he's not a center fielder by nature, but for what you getting out of him during this injury period, he's been great.
I mean, a lot of singles, but lately he's been the extra base hits, the doubles have been up as well.
And you know what? I see Hoof in the chat. He just stated the person that I have up here. I was waiting to see if you're going to say that player, too. So I'm going to let you – you guys already know, man. It's my godson from another mother.
Yeah, Dingler Bang.
Dingler Bang. Hoof
he just wanted Dingle Bang every fucking where.
That dude is the truth.
Well, all right. So I'll talk about Dingler in the way that I want to talk about the rest of the lineup. I'm looking at a potential path for this Tigers lineup being really, really good. Quiet as kept, and I'm not going to kill him for it because he's been our best offensive player, but Spencer Torkelson has regressed a little bit to where his OPS is now at 896 to where it was over 1,000 for most of the year. But I'm looking at somebody like Torque, who I do expect to at least have an 800 OPS by year's end. If he can maintain an 800 OPS and be healthy, if Kerry Carpenter can maintain an 800 OPS and be healthy, which health is more of a question with him than Torque, if Riley Greene can continue getting back to where he was last year and have an over 800 OPS and healthy, that's a really nice start to having a lineup that can get you to the playoffs and win playoff series and maybe get you to the World Series and win it with this pitching staff. But also, you mentioned Dylan Dingler. Could Dylan Dingler and Gleyber Torres both finish the season with 700 OPSs? That's a big question. I think Gleyber Torres can because that's all he's done throughout his career. Dylan Dingler, he's been hot. I think it's at about 770 right now. He's been wildly important to the success of this team, especially with Jake Rogers being out. But I think it's important for him to maybe maintain that. And then you look at a couple of wild cards. I call them the on-base percentage kings, but no hitting. Justin Henry Malloy, Jace Young, and Colt Keith. That's basically what they've been this year. And Jace Young, he's new to the majors this year, but those are guys who all have been taking their walks, and I love them for that. But they're all hitting under 200. I'd like to see them get a little bit better. Maybe Justin Henry Malloy can be that 700 OPS right-handed hitter. I'm not counting on it, but I am in love with his plate discipline. I just need a little bit more hitting. But the biggest question mark of them all is Matt Vierling and Parker Meadows haven't played a game yet. So maybe those guys being back, and if Matt Vierling can be what Matt Vierling has been for the Tigers, and Parker Meadows can be a guy who 750 OPS or higher with great center field defense, maybe that can make up for what I think is a regression to the mean from Javier Baez and Zach McKinstry. I knew I just threw a lot at you in terms of numbers, but I don't think any of those benchmarks that I'm mentioning are really that unreasonable. I mean, with Riley Greene, for example, we saw it last year. His OPS was 827. Spencer Torkelson, for about 3 weeks, was an MVP candidate. It could happen. Kerry Carpenter, in a small career sample size, has done nothing but hit. Last year, in a little over half the season, his OPS started with a 9.
Yeah, I
They can do this.
I would expect all three of the guys you named, Green, Torkelson, and Carpenter, to all have above 820 OPSs by the end of the season. I think that's a pretty fair estimate right there. I think that Parker Meadows is going to be huge when he comes back to this lineup because he is a left-handed bat, which we have plenty of, but he can hit off left-handed pitching. He has very good splits when it comes to left-handed pitching. I think that Vierling is a nice right-handed bat to add, but I still think that you're lacking that true World Series depth from the right side of the plate. And I think that you can't ask, too much from the Justin Henry Malloys. You definitely can for Colt Keith. You have that guaranteed contract for Colt Keith over the next 9 years. He needs to be better. There's no doubt about that. He needs to regress back to the mean in a positive way instead of a negative way like he has. And I think he has it in him. I think he struggled early last year as well. Maybe he's just not an April guy, not a cold weather guy.
He had a stretch last year, though, where he was putting the bat on the ball, So.
Yeah, he finished the year with a good stats, quality OPS.
Really good numbers
so
last year
I would expect, I definitely would expect him to regress back to the mean. I just think that there is so much untapped potential on this team still. Even though this team is playing so well and they're the best team in the AL right now, they're fourth in the entire MLB, there's still so much to go in terms of getting guys back, Meadows and Vierling. And then, like you said, there are guys who can play better than this team, and that just makes me think that the ceiling is through the roof on this team.
That's the thing, Justin. I'll just take last night out of it because the Tigers lost, but Riley Greene had a multi-homer game. They had an 18-10 start, and Riley Greene wasn't even having a good year. Mm-hmm. That's when you talk about untapped potential. I know you were talking about more than that, but that's something you can almost put to numbers as Riley Greene. Even though I had a bit of a crash out over him about a week ago, all of us knew that he was going to find it at some point, and he has found it.
At some point, and that was why it was probably my biggest key of the season. If we go back and remember when we were kicking off our preseason predictions and keys to the season and reaching those totals, it was that. Can this team and what's around them right now, because this is on now Scott Harris and what A.J. Hinch decides to do and how that development staff gets these guys ready from a plate discipline standpoint, if you're in the batting lineup, as well as your pitchers. And now we've seen guys with the internal growth getting better, and we're seeing them now be able to weather and withstand. Before, it was an absolute. You had to have Skubal on point every start just about for this Tigers team to have an opportunity. You had to basically go out there and win almost every one of his starts. Riley Greene had to be an all-star for the first half of the season last year for them to have that success. That's how he became an all-star. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. This year the team is taking a big step forward to the point that, if Riley Greene goes out there and shows out, it's almost like having a little bit of extra on top sometimes. And when you do, that's why I continue to look at what this team can be when they get healthy. Because the question is, World Series contenders, and you talked about their ceiling being a little bit higher, Justin, and that's where we do. Do we go and reset those expectations? Because this squad is looking like a serious team, really serious team, not just one that we're talking about. They might kind of win the division, it might get into the World Series and win a series. This is a squad that I do believe you can aptly say they should be building on what they did last year.
Best record in the American League through base April, for all intents and purposes, is over, and you don't even have Matt Vierling and Parker Meadows.
And they're playing decent teams. People can't sit around and continue to say, "Oh, but they played the White Sox." It's like, they've been playing some really decent.
People at this own network.
Sam with the fresh
because
face.
that's what we do. We've been adopting the whole aspect of handle your business games, obviously.
Right.
Still smirking. Handle your business series. And it was crazy because it started as we got closer and closer to the Padres one. It was just like, you know what? I think the Padres one is to handle your business series. And that's the crazy thing. And then Flannel, I feel like Flannel. I really do. I look at every series. I'm like, oh, Tiger should win that one. And it has a large part to do with what Scott Harris has done to put this team together. But, you know, the internal growth to be able to help the squad lift up everybody. It's not just like last year we were like, man, this team needs 2 bats at minimum. Yeah. And then when the bullpen fell off, we were like, we got to get some help in there. We got to call people from the minors. I'm not feeling that right now. Right now I feel like if we're making tweaks, it's almost to bolster what this team can do to get further than last year.
And this is where you got to give the Tigers credit. They answered a lot of questions to start this, early season, because a lot of us thought, because of the injuries and how bad the infield looks still coming from last year, that they would struggle early out the gate. And I had no qualms that they would struggle, but they've shut me up. They've answered my questions. And look at what we're talking about. We're talking about multiple guys having 800 OPSs this year, over 700 OPSs this year. That's like water to somebody in the desert from what we had last year. Literally, like, this offense has continued to impress me in multiple ways. And you've gotten a lot from the guys that you expected to take that step, but it's the guys that you didn't expect that have been the welcome surprise to this team. Much like Sam brought up, your Zach McKinstry's of the world, Dylan Dinglers, Andy Ibanez, these guys, Justin Henry Malloy, who we knew to be a good hitter, but now he's a consistent leadoff for this team. There's just been so much that you're getting from your 5 through 9 guys that it makes, the job easier for the 1 through 4 to go out there and do their thing, man. And we all know that this pitching is World Series level. I do want to caution against, maybe saying World Series just yet, but can they right the wrongs of last year and get to an ALCS? Yeah. I have no doubt in my mind, especially if this level of offense can continue.
Hey, chat family, just real quick before I pass it back over to Flannel, definitely put what are your expectations right now? Because we've done this with all the squads, and we're getting close to, that 30 and then 40 game mark. Where I know Rod Beard, the legend, he locks in for his season predictions for baseball, because it's such a long season, you get to see the trends. But that's where I want to see people's focus. What is this Tigers team right now? What standard and what expectation are you holding them to the rest of the way? And I like that. I see KG. My man said, hey, listen, maybe ALCS, which I think is an improvement over last year. But
absolutely.
I want to see if we got some zealous people out there who also believe World Series is that expectation.
And before we move on, would we all agree that at this point, anything short of a division title is probably a disappointment?
Yes.
Considering what they've done.
How they've looked, yes.
Yeah, because I predicted wild card when I found out about the Parker Meadows and Matt Vierling and even Wensiel Perez injuries were brought to light. But I'm shifting mine to got to win the division.
I feel
you don't want to F with those
that.
wild card series and playing a couple of games on the road. Even though they did it last year, it's not. You want an easier path. And hey, if they keep playing like they are, we might even be talking about seeding. But I'll wait at least until May to really go deep into that. But before we move on to some Lions talk, towards the end of the show, we will be opening up the phone lines. We're going to talk a little Pistons. Later on, we're going to talk a little Lions when we come back, and at about 9:30 or so, we'll open them up. You guys, whatever you want to talk about, 313-552-6322. And you can call anytime. You just might be on hold for a little while. But 313-552-6322. And as always, keep making your thoughts known in the chat. And if you send us a super chat, you will go straight to the front of the line. But JB.
Wait, real quick, Flannel. I just want to say one thing.
Yes.
The division title has to be the minimum at this point. This point, Caesar Sportsbook, shout out, has them as minus 145 favorites to win the division.
Wow. Right then.
Okay.
And so being a minus favorite at this point in the season is extremely impressive. The Guardians are the closest team at plus 360. So at this point, the division has to be ours and has to continue to be with consistent baseball, winning games, and they're going to get it done. I think that's the minimum is winning the division.
Minus odds after April. That's a good pull, Justin, and that further amplifies our point of it is division title or bust. And then, of course, with division title or bust, you can't go out in the CS this year either. But
go
more
Tigers.
but again, April
Shit,
baseball.
if they make the CS, I'm cool. That's a great season.
Wait. DS.
Yeah.
My bad. Can't go out in the DS.
Yeah.
The CS, then I'm calling for them to make a World Series. But anywho, I misspoke. The ALDS.
And I see it, people in the chat as well. Key Ozzy, man. I see he says minimum
Shout out.
ALCS, but World Series contenders overall. I think
100%.
that's the best way to put it. He put period.
100%.
Stop playing.
With
Stop
this-
being afraid, Detroit fan.
With this pitching staff and this bullpen, you can beat anybody on any given night. You can shut down any lineup. You can make any star player go 0 for 4
It's
in any
just
given
about
night.
the bats.
Someone
Absolutely.
let the Tigers get hot. Shout out Lunchbox.
Someone let the Tigers get hot. But JB, tell us about merch.
Oh yeah, let me tell you about merch, but also shout out to everyone sending in super chats as well too. Just to finish those up, $4.99 from Dante151. So he said, "So did any of you see what the Cleveland Cavaliers did to the Miami Heat last night in their Game 4? Because holy hell, Miami had zero chance in this series. Did anybody catch that?
No, I watched the other game, Golden State, and the Rockets. That was a really good game. So
Yeah, that was
I wonder what JB was watching last night, huh?
I mean, you know, I was watching the Golden State, but I did tap into the Miami game. That was just horrible. You all should be embarrassing yourself. I'm sorry, Miami. And $10 from Randall Smalls. Randall, I don't know what's going on, man. He said, "It is with great sorrow I am signing off from Woodward Sports. I have been called stupid and told to F off for the last time, but by men with less experience than I. You guys have fun in Vegas." Randall, I don't know what's going on, my guy, but
Right.
Randall,
let us
reach
know,
out, bro.
Let us know,
You got a
man.
home
Reach
with
out,
the Woo
man.
crew, man. Come on,
You're still
reach
cool with
out.
us, bro. I don't know what's going on, but let
Love
us know,
you, man.
man.
This is why we got to take it easy going at fans sometimes.
I know.
Just
But
a little bit.
let me tell you
Randall,
about
love
some
you.
merch.
We personally put skin to skin.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
The best
we love
handshake
you,
ever.
Rando.
Love you, Rando, man. Don't leave, bro. Let me tell you about some merch we got going on. Head over to woodwardsports.com. Click on that shop tab. New designs for you every single week. But you know we got the Woodward Tigers gear as well too. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, anything you need. And you can't forget about those Red Wings. I know they let you down, but you still gotta love them. The LFG Red Wings T-shirts and hoodies available for you right now. All you gotta do is head over to woodwardsports.com and click on that shop tab.
Hey, Tony, what's up, bro?
Same circus, different clowns.
For sure. You want the usual, the big zip?
You know me too well.
I threw a little something extra in there for your ma.
Oh,
Hope
man.
she's doing all right.
Ay, guy, sei un santo.
Ah.
You're a saint.
All right, buddy, we'll see you next time, okay?
Grazie.
WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Your boy KG here to tell y'all about Mad Packs. It is the hottest new cannabis brand, and they are partnering with your boys here at Woodward Sports, and you know what that means. I'm going to be feeling good all day long, especially if the Pistons get that second dub in NYC tonight. But Mad Packs is going to take your game to the next level. High-Low is getting you high for the low, delivering top-tier quality at unbeatable prices. Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka. Is a live resin-infused tarantula. This one's the bomb, y'all. Blizzard packs, THCA, moon rocks that hit like a blizzard. Oh, I ain't had a good moon rock in a while. Coming to retailers next month. Stay tuned to Woodward Sports for all of the latest updates.
What up, though, people? We are back. It is Wake Up Woodward, and that's lunch on the back wall there, man. Shout out to Buddies.
Right. Mad Packs
Pizza,
and
man.
Buddies.
Hey. It
Shout
bangs. Out. It bangs. Super Bowl Cardi, I see you in the chat. He says, when is the R&B album going to drop, KG? You know, I think that's a good time to just go ahead and satisfy that like button and get those likes.
Damn, I'm an R&B singer. I'm the defensive coordinator for the Lions, man.
Look, I
need some time, man.
KG got the rap. I got you on the R&B. Yeah, you know what it does.
Say that again.
It does look like you about to.
Your profile picture does look like you about to drop an R&B album. This is like the cover case.
Oh my god, y'all silly as hell. Shout out to Channel 7.
Hey, can I be a background singer?
Yeah, you sure can.
Thank you.
You absolutely can.
All right, let's rock, man. Hey,
you know, yesterday we was a little rough, man, and I understand it might feel a little tender today, so just go ahead and take it slow with that like button. Just glaze your finger across it. You might want to lubricate it a little bit and just slide it up and down that screen. We appreciate it.
I Am Shep album coming soon.
I Am Shep. I'm looking at you in the booth here, and then as soon as I look up at the picture on the monitors, I'm like, dog, this dude do look like he's about to drop the coldest R&B album of all time. Jeez.
Y'all wild, man.
But we got to get to it. TLB, huh?
Yes.
TLB, a word to our brother, huh, KG?
Talk Lions, bitch.
And everybody got something to say about the Detroit Lions draft. It was very, very interesting because I think everybody was saying they need edge, they need edge, they need edge. And then we started to hear all types of things pop up as we got closer that, you know what, they're just really focused on improving the trenches in this team by their own metrics. And it may go against a lot of what we thought. But friend of the network, Ari Meirov, he had some interesting things and comments to say as well.
Go ahead, JB.
So yeah, the Lions were another one over here as we keep on going through my takeaways. And the reason this one was interesting for me because the Lions, we know how good they draft over the years. I mean, Brad Holmes has proven himself. Like, don't question me. Do not. Right? Remember the Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta draft. Everyone was like, what are you guys doing? Everyone was giving them failing grades. Of course, those guys were all amazing. Their first, from their first three picks, there was Tyleik Williams at pick 28. Tate Radledge at 57, then Isaac Tesla at number 70. I want to look at two of those guys specifically. Tyleik Williams was not somebody who was talked about as a first-round pick in this draft. He's an exceptional run stuffer, but the Lions taking him there, I found that to be very interesting because they clearly saw something with him where it was like, no, we're taking you in the first round. Again, it's very reminiscent to me when they took Jack Campbell, when they took Sam Laporta, when they took Jahmyr Gibbs, where everyone on the consensus board, I don't have the consensus board in front of me, but Tyleik was not at number 20. I'll tell you that much. He was nowhere close to that. So them taking him there, they clearly saw something, that scouting department, Brad Holmes in particular, Dan Campbell, where it's like, no, we're taking him here. The other one that was the most interesting to me was Isaac Tesla, the wide receiver out of Arkansas, round 3, pick 70. Consensus board, he was somewhere in the mid 100s, I would say. If I have to go get the exact number, but he was there. The reason it's so interesting to me because they aggressively traded up to get him. They gave up a third-round pick in this year's draft and 2 third-round picks in next year's draft to the Jaguars to make sure they get Isaac Tesla here in this draft. So that one in particular, I mean, they've been looking for a guy across from Amon-Ra St. Brown for the last couple of years, I would say. Like, they've had guys. Josh Reynolds was there. They tried a few different people there. Tim Patrick last year. They saw something with Isaac Tesla. For them to go out there and trade 3 third-round picks, including 2 next year, to go up to number 7 in the third round to go and get him. I would be watching Isaac this entire rookie minicamp into OTAs, into training camp. I think they think he could start for them. If they're trading that much for them and going into the third round with this scouting department, which is so good, I think that is one to watch over here as we get into training camp eventually in August.
Goodness gracious, man! When you put it that way, just it really, 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 really makes you think. What is Isaac Tesla? What is he supposed to be this year?
Yeah.
And when you just kind of look at the highlights overall, you see a player that is sure-handed, consistent, and honestly reliable, dependable. And that's what I get out of really all of these players that we saw, at least the majority of the ones that we believe are going to be in this rotation. And that's what Brad Holmes said that the strategy was going to be able to do. Go out there and find players that fit their culture. Go out there and find guys that will contribute. But they might fill needs even at a later time. And so it's interesting to hear Ari Meirov and his comments focusing on Tesla because
shout out.
They gave up a lot, but when you see the tape, you can see a little bit of the vision. When you see the highlights, you can see the vision of what they're trying to do. I saw some comments. This guy makes some of the, some acrobatic catches and one-handed catches. People ask, jokingly, does he catch the ball with two hands at all?
It's funny, and yeah, no, we've all seen the Isaac Tesla great highlights. We've also know that at least in his last year at Arkansas, he didn't have a single drop. Not a ton of catches, I think only 28, but still no drops while averaging 19.5 yards per catch. That's very, very impressive. Don't get me wrong. And I like how Ari Meirov, he kept it specific to two particular picks. And I think those are two picks of players who have really good upside in potentially being maybe Tyleik Williams a starter this year, maybe Isaac Tesla being one of the diamonds in the rough of this draft. But they also could, in theory, even though it doesn't happen often with Brad Holmes, blow up a little bit. I'm not sure if that's going to happen with a Tyleik Williams because I think if you wanted an interior defensive line at 28, obviously, they didn't trade up. I think the four best ones in the draft were already gone, and Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, and Derek Harmon. He was probably the next best one available, although I prefer Darius Alexander, but that's just me. Noah Leem for the early part of the year. A lot of defensive tackles like Levi O and DJ Reader are not under contract past 2025. If they're looking at pairing Tyleik Williams and Aleem McNeil for the next 4 or 5 years. Can't necessarily hate that, even though I would have gone a different direction. The Isaac Tesla one is interesting because it's weird because in college, he was more of a slot guy, but he's also, according to RAS score and even according to measurables and even some of his tape, he's an absolute athletic freak. Mm-hmm. One of the highest RAS scores literally ever. I think the 11th highest ever for a wide receiver since RAS has been a thing, which is unbelievable. And you saw his hands. You've seen him make a ton of big plays. And in the slot, it's interesting.
Hold on, not just in the slot. We talking about a 6'4" guy that can run a 4.40 being in the slot. Sure. That can be a game changer.
Okay, it's an interesting skill set because you don't see athletic freak and slot guy mentioned together that much.
But that's the thing. The combination to me of the speed plus the hands, and that's why I'm glad you mentioned that. That to me is what makes him a very intriguing player. So what he might need to develop on to become a very well-rounded and polished NFL receiver, we know that the way that golf plays, timing and windows and tight windows, is this a situation where at least his natural given ability that should and will translate day one of speed and being able to catch anything around him, that makes this stealing way, 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 way up there. And I see people in the chat. I don't know if they're playing, if they're being a little bit of funny, or if they're being serious, saying, "Look, I'm getting a jersey. I'm locked in to what he can be."
Yeah.
But to me, it's continuing to be tantalizing because of that. You mentioned that this guy can get to where he needs to get to on the field. He can, and then they throw it anywhere near him. The guy's catching it behind him, around him, and I do believe that it's a player that, if his skill set does translate to the NFL, it's one that I believe caters even more to who Jared Goff is as a quarterback.
And how can it not when you're playing next to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams? This move, people got to realize this ain't necessarily for this year, although I do feel like he'll be that wide receiver 4 and they will use him in certain sets. This is a move for the future because we all love Tim Patrick. He's been great as a Lion, but you are moving into a position, and I love, shout out Spin Morax, man. I love what he said yesterday. This could possibly be the Khalif Raymond replacement. I think more in line of the Tim Patrick replacement, because you're moving into an area now where you got to pay your own guys. And a lot of that money is going to be sold up into your own guys. So you're not going to be able to really afford like some of those contracts, like a Khalif Raymond contract. You want to draft guys like that in-house. And they went out and got a guy with a skill set that is very unique to the slot position, much like Sam was saying. And they've been missing that in this offense. We haven't had that jump ball guy. You know, we've had Josh Reynolds, big body receiver, was able to do some things in the red zone. And Tim Patrick, he's been great down the field, and he's been pretty sure-handed himself. But you haven't had just that 6'4", big body guy. I'm going to toss the ball up, let him go get it, and if he can't get it, the ref is going to come out with a flag, and they're going to call pass interference, and we're at the goal line. Like, we haven't had that type of presence in this offense.
It's a speed off the break. Like, if he's going long, bro.
Yeah,
it's a speed off the break that could probably induce particular flags and such, especially when you consider the size advantage that he's going to employ as well. But he has speed too. Man. He's not just a big guy. He can get off. And I think that I heard the biggest issue with him is that he struggles with separation. That's something that you can work on at the NFL level. But as long as he runs a 4.4 and he's that big, he's going to create problems, especially if you put him in the slot in this already potent Lions offense, man. And we're not even talking about what Gibbs can do in the backfield and, Sam Laporta at tight end. Like, this is the more I look at this move, the more I think it's a really, really good move for the future. But it is also one of those moves that if it doesn't work, Brad got some questions to answer.
For sure.
So it's one of them things you got to live and die with.
And that's what I feel like if this is a situation where with all of the offensive weapons he's going to have around him and all the different sets they can employ, especially with play action, I do feel like it's get to a spot in the zone. Get to a place where the coverage is a little bit weak, catch the ball, and then employ that speed. Like we said, there are some technique things that we know he's going to have to get better at. But if they can find a way to tap into, like if they're talking about, and that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier, the aspect of separation and certain things he needs to improve on at the next level.
Yeah.
If you can utilize his speed and space in a plethora of ways and his height when need be, then you got something. You're cooking. Like,
exactly.
They literally brought in Tim Patrick, who does not necessarily employ that speed, does have a little bit of the height and the big body to him. And look what they were able to do with Tim Patrick and a quarterback like Jared Goff. And that's where I am intrigued by what this pick can really be.
And you don't need separation where you could just jump over people. But that being said, go ahead, Justin.
I agree with a lot of things you guys are saying. The thing is, as a frequent Arkansas football watcher, because I'm an absolute sicko, their quarterback Taylon Greene is not the most gifted passer, if we want to put it bluntly.
Yeah.
He is a mobile quarterback. He is considered in that same class as Alex Orji, except he can complete a forward pass. He's a little better for sure.
Alex Orji can pass.
He's not as bad as Orji. He's at least a baseline Power 5 quarterback. The thing is Tesla was mostly a slot guy out of necessity. Taylon Greene struggles to throw the ball on the outside of the field, and which means that he wasn't getting the ball much. A lot of he made a lot of great plays. One particular play that really sticks out to me was in this Texas A&M game. He ran a great route, created great separation, and then once he has that opening, he is gone. Taylon Greene didn't even give him a good ball. He had to stop a little bit. But once he had that separation on that post route, he was gone. And that's the type of thing you can expect from Isaac Tesla. Like you said, he's going to make significant improvements to his game at the NFL level, learn the separation, especially in a locker room with a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, the king of separation, who has the route tree absolutely crisped up.
Yep. I
think that this is a great move. I like the pick. I think there's a lot of upside. Like you said, the RAS score is off the charts, and especially the way that I know that Ben Johnson's no longer our OC, but the fundamentals of our offense are still going to be the same.
Absolutely.
You're now going to see variations of the JMO reverse that go to Tesla, and you have another option that's elite with the ball, and they're going to find ways to get him the ball in space, and it's just another high leverage athlete that you have to guard. We're talking about having 3 premier athletes on our offense. We're talking Jahmyr Gibbs, one of the most explosive running backs in the NFL. Jamison Williams, a touchdown machine. Every time you touch the ball, like Neil says, your jaw's open. You're expecting a big play. And then you add Isaac Tesla, a 6'4", 4'3" machine who is just going to get better. I personally, I have no issue with the pick, and I don't feel like it was a reach. I think that he has a lot of potential, and I like the move in terms of how it looks in the next couple of years.
No, Justin, and I probably didn't watch as much Arkansas football as you, but I'm a big college football junkie myself, and I like the point. Obviously, the Taylon Green thing, that's a thing. Even though Andrew Armstrong put up big numbers in that
he was
offense,
the main receiver.
Sure. I don't hold the lack of reception production really against Isaac Tesla mainly because of what he did with every reception and just within the flow of the offense. And one of the reasons why we call him unique, and you said he was more slot out of necessity, when you look at his numbers for last year, almost all of his numbers, all of his receptions are slot receptions. But for being more of a slot receiver, for somebody who takes well over the majority of his snaps from the slot, he also has a very high number of what they call deep catches. And that's what we talk about with Isaac Tesla. We talk about his ability to make the big play in terms of catching the deep ball, but also yards after the catch, he can be deadly as well. So even though one of my gripes was that I don't think that the Lions did enough in terms of addressing the edge rushing position, I still don't necessarily hate the player of Isaac Tesla, especially considering Tim Patrick is under contract for one more year.
Exactly.
And I see I'm salty in the chat.
Yeah,
Chad is definitely salty. He's going crazy. I love how
shout out I'm salty, man.
For a 600-yard receiver. He's going in. Dude's going to play special teams.
Yeah.
Elite with the ball. LOL. Dude did nothing.
Third round picks ain't playing special teams, big dog.
I appreciate you. I'm salty. You're one of the ones that we have interactions with. My thing is this. You're also one of those people who, if we suggest something different before the draft, you say, hush up and let Brad cook. This is what Brad decided to do.
Yeah.
And I remember when he did this type of stuff with Amon-Ra and what people thought. I know what happened when he did this type of stuff with J-Mo, what people thought. I know what happened when he did this type of stuff with Jahmyr Gibbs. And I know these players were taken at different spots. But we have the examples, whether it's been high or mid of the draft picks. And Brad Holmes has cooked up in these instances. This is a situation that comes with, as you've heard, a lot to like. If this staff is what we think they could be from a development standpoint, and if Jared Goff is the type of quarterback we think he is, and then ultimately what I'm hearing is if he's the type of workhorse that we believe him to be. People love the fact that he's relentless blocker. People love the fact that his motor doesn't turn off. There's not plays where he's loafing. Mm-hmm. And that's what you love to see. So when Brad Holmes must have been doing the assessment, these are things we've heard him talk about. Who are these guys throughout the entirety of the play? This is how they must have known that J-Mo was a hell of a blocker on every play.
Yeah.
This is how they must have known. Amon-Ra is what a hell of a blocker. Sam Laporta, they want these guys who aren't afraid to get nasty. They want these guys who aren't afraid to go out there and try to make every single play. And when you're playing with a bag for some less than stellar quarterbacks, I guess that's why the highlight reel looks the way it does, because he has some phenomenal catches.
It's impressive,
right.
and that's what's really will make you be tantalized by him is his
highlights.
His highlight plays, his RAS score. I mean, all of that is just off the charts.
And stats ain't always an indicator. Like, you got to really do a deep dive and try to get into the head of Brad Holmes and realize why he's making a pick like this.
Well, and for the record, and I'm not saying that Isaac Tesla is going to be this guy. I think that shows even like the heavyweights even mentioning this guy in the same breath as Tesla is a little blasphemous for now. However, Puka Nacua never had an 1,000-yard season in college. That's all. That's it. That's all.
And he has that kind of upside.
That's it. But to invoke Puka Nacua just yet, I think.
I get you, but I do think his ceiling could be that.
Puka Nacua was not a high-ranked prospect. Actually, Isaac Tesla's got like a lot more measurables than Puka Nacua. But again, I don't want to put those expectations on the poor kid just yet. Actually, opposite of poor kid. It sounds like his dream was just realized and he was picked higher up than what he probably expected. But before we talk some Pistons, because they are going to take center stage when we get back, and they're going to take center stage tonight. Chase, Ari Meirov, I know we've talked a lot about Isaac Tesla in this segment, but he also mentioned Tyreek Williams as a pick that he's intrigued by, and I know you like interior for sure. But Chase, since you weren't here yesterday as well, what are your thoughts on the Tyleik Williams pick and the Isaac Tesla pick?
I was really happy with the Tyleik Williams pick. I was also very happy with the Tate Radulich pick as well, because like I said, we just added 2 300-plus pounders. Yeah, meat in the middle of the line,
meat in the middle.
No bread, no water,
and
just
I kept hearing a lot of people talking about, not only like here at the network, but on other like national shows and networks as well, talking about the impact of an interior defensive line presence and how much that takes away the that chipping guard on the edge on a player like Aiden Hutchinson, because they have to focus on the double team in the middle with that interior pass rush. It opens up so much more for not like the outside guys to eat up and clean up those sacks. I was ecstatic with the pick, and I think it's going to be a very fruitful pick for the Lions. Like I said, he's athletic, he's fast, he's big, he's powerful, and he can stop the run. Which we're in the NFC North. It gets cold out here and late in the year, and you got to be able to run the ball. So I was ecstatic with that. Tesla, hey, we say let Brad cook all the time. I got that Brad Holmes home cooked meal that I won from a contest way back when, like a year ago. So
I remember that. So you got the video.
So yeah, exactly. Just looks like he whipped us up a good meal, and I'm ready to see what it tastes like in the fall.
Yeah, and I appreciate your perspective, Chase. And for the record, moving forward, every time I try to pronounce his name, Tesla, it like interrupts my flow and my cadence. So he's Tesla from now on. I mean, he's going to be, obviously, because he's fast.
I mean, that's what I call him.
It just fits right in.
I do love the Tyleik pick. I just want to say one real quick thing about him. My favorite thing is his wiggle. He's got that nice wiggle. He can like break through those double teams, and he doesn't quit. He runs guys down that are upfield, and I love that. He is a true Dan Campbell guy. Also, shout out to his cats. That was a hilarious interview. But I think he's got some real potential, and I love the fact that we have, DJ Reader comes off the books next year. I love that we drafted his replacement. He looks like the perfect fit for that type of role, and I'm just really excited to see what he can do on the field, because he's got that pedigree. He's from Ohio State. He was a big part of their national championship run, especially against Notre Dame, a team that wanted to run the ball, and he was critical in making sure that they didn't have the great game on the ground that they did, and made Riley Leonard take all those scrambles and not let that interior run game start going with Love. So I really like the Tyleik Williams pick. I think that's a great pick, and I think that a lot of people are downgrading the pick because it wasn't an edge. And I don't think they're giving Tyleik a fair grade just because it wasn't an edge.
And to be honest, his pass rushing upside, I see him maybe going in the path of Aleem McNeil. He didn't have that coming out of college, but you can develop that at the next level because he has that wiggle that you talked about. So I think his pass rushing upside could be slept on as well.
Well, Aleem McNeil is reasonable. I was hoping you wouldn't say somebody be blasphemous, but Aleem McNeil, I can agree with.
And I'm
Chris
wondering,
Jones.
No, absolutely not. Come on.
Sorry.
No. Just can he be somebody that you might not solve the double team problem with Aiden Hutchinson ever in his career, because he's
too damn good.
But can you solve the freaking chips? We see him blast the double teams, and then there's always that extra chip blocker. Can this interior be the reason why Aiden Hutchinson sees a little bit less of that?
That's the vision. Well, even if I don't know for sure it's the vision, it has to be at this point.
If you're picking Tyleik Williams, that to me is saying, okay, this is the vision that we want here. Double team Aiden Hutchinson, and hopefully that's it. Because if Tyleik Williams and that wiggle and the possibility that he has, the ceiling that he has, the potential he has to be able to be a guy that can get some sacks like Aleem McNeil, hey, you know what? He's going to get home. And then they're going to have to think about sending that chip to Aiden or leaving it home for the interior.
It's going to be interesting. And I know this is the stock answer, but if the Lions, if all these guys, well, not all of them will, but let's just say if the Lions have a great year and they win the Super Bowl and some of these rookies contribute heavily, even if they don't, but I'd assume that they would, Brad Holmes can tell all of us, not detractors, but people have some questions that we're stupid MFers. I know he thinks it already, but that would give him all the ammunition in the world. But you know who are not stupid MFers? Lady Jane's. Got a nice haircut yesterday.
Hey, you know what, guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff. Like gimmies on the golf course. We like uncomplicated. Like Lady Jane's haircuts for men. Walk in, sign in, and before you know it, you're handsome and clean. Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Tony, what's up, bro?
Same circus, different clowns.
For sure. You want the usual, the big zip?
You know me too well.
I threw a little something extra in there for your ma.
Oh,
Hope
man.
she's doing all right.
Ay, guy, sei un santo. You're a saint.
All right, buddy. We'll see you next time, okay?
Grazie.
Detroit has the best sports fans in the world. That's why they deserve the best sports coverage in the world. We are the Woodward Sports Network.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and Thursdays during Ermanni Networks, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that D-Mac does. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsAndSpine.com or call 248-426-9944. And we are back. It is Wake Up Woodward Chat family. Go ahead and smash that like button. Let's run up the likes on this Detroit Pistons Game 5 game day. And they have to win or they are done. They've battled well, but it ain't going to matter tonight if they don't find a way to push the series back to Detroit. And you know what? They've battled so well that I don't put this out of the realm of possibility for them to do something historic. But I know a lot of people are saying it's time to stick a fork in the Pistons. But if they're going to do anything, you know what? It starts game by game, and that's tonight. I feel like Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, especially after that kind of scoreless fourth quarter and 4-point second half, they've just been the difference makers completely for the New York Knicks in this series, and that's what you have to have if you're the Knicks. And nothing the Pistons have been able to do has really worked to slow them down. The best options have only put them in foul trouble. So tonight, I want to break down what are the keys for the Detroit Pistons to go out there and get a dub and be able to stave off some of these late game breakdowns, which have cost them several times in this series.
Well, I know there's a lot of people in the chat, particularly Stick, who's going to cringe at what I'm about to say. Cade needs more help. What? Wow! All the people who were like way too on the Cade slander yesterday are crazy. Shout out Stick, by the way. Not mad at him, but it is what it is. It is what it is. We all know that we disagree with his thoughts on Cade.
He just keeps trying to simplify it, and it's not as simple as, okay, Cade just need to overcome all. It's not as simple as that.
But I've got some numbers for you all that really kind of hit home what Cade has been working with in this series. JB, do you have the one that starts off with Malik Beasley?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Malik Beasley, 2024-2025, regular season, he's averaging 16 per game on 43% from the floor and 42% from behind the arc. In the playoffs, 14 points per game on 35% from the floor and 31% from behind the arc. Furthermore, Jalen Duren in the regular season was a plus 36 I know plus minus isn't the gospel, but we all know Duren has some limitations and has had some moments where he hasn't looked that great. In the playoffs, he is by far the worst on the team at minus 42 and is well below what his regular season numbers are.
Yeah.
So my point with all of this is that if you want to say that Cade hasn't been as efficient as he should be and that he's been a little bit too turnover prone and he's had some moments down the stretch where he hasn't come through, I get that, but come on. You can't look at this and say that it doesn't play a factor and that teammates don't matter in the National Basketball Association. But wait, there's more. Go ahead, JB. I got one more about Ausar Thompson and Isaiah Stewart. Ausar Thompson, regular season minutes per game in the fourth quarter. Whoops, my bad. These are fourth quarter minutes per game. I effed this up. 5.2. Playoffs fourth quarter minutes per game, 3.3. And I know a lot of this has to do with him being in some foul trouble, but it hasn't always been foul trouble. And we all know Ausar Thompson, he's had an impact. We'll get to that in a second. Isaiah Stewart, missed games in the regular season, 10 out of a possible 82. Missed games in the playoffs, 3 out of a possible 4. All of this matters. All of this matters as to why the Pistons aren't winning this series. It's not just what Cade didn't do. That's why teammates matter so much. Did you guys know that the Minnesota Timberwolves, Julius Randle, a notorious playoff underperformer, is averaging 22 points per game on 46% from behind the arc this series?
Sheesh.
Did you know that Karl
that.
Anthony Towns is shooting 50% from behind the arc this season? Did you know that Tyrese Halliburton in the playoffs is the third leading scorer on his own team after Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner? Did you know that? Did you know that in Game 4 last night, Steph Curry had 17 points on 25% from behind the arc? What was one of the biggest reasons they won? Brandon freaking Podziemski had 26 on 6 of 11 from behind the arc. Teammates matter. And I know that some players for the Pistons have come through at big moments, like even Jalen Duren at times. You can look at Tim Hardaway Jr., you can look at Tobias Harris, but if we would have known that Isaiah Stewart would miss 3 out of the 4 series, that Ausar Thompson would be relegated in the fourth quarter a lot of times to not being on the court, that Malik Beasley would be terrible, and that Jalen Duren would underperform, would we have expected the Pistons to win this series?
No.
Absolutely not. Just wanted to give this context. The teammates around Cade have to be better, even more than Cade has to be better.
They do, and that's the thing. It's like, how do you weight this? When people do go and they criticize Cade, I just want people to understand the criticism that you're trying to levy at him is that you're doing this. You're bypassing the fact that you already know he's a star, and you're saying, hey, to be one of the greatest of all time, you need to do X, Y, and Z. Because the exercise here that when you look at what the other players are getting and the help that's around them, they're putting up these stats with a lot less gravity being absorbed around them. They're able to put up these stats with a lot more help around them and a lot better outside shooting, which we know is one of the keys here. That's the reason why when you look at Cade Cunningham, the reason why people, if you can say that you're disappointed, then you're telling me that as a number 6 seed up against a number 3 seed, missing your best interior defender who defended one of their star players the best, missing, and you guys believe that the reason why the Pistons aren't up right now is because of a few plays that Cade could have done here or there, then you're calling Cade Cunningham unquestionably and undoubtedly a person on the verge of superstardom.
Right.
Because what it shows is everything he's done to get us here. The people who chip away at, oh, he had a turnover here or there. Do y'all understand where we would be if that man, knock on wood, had gotten the same predicament that happened in season 2? That's what I'm saying. If you guys know we don't even have an opportunity for him to miss the last second shot with him not there, then what are we actually talking about? That at that point in time, and I'll be fair to it, it's hurt feelings because we want to see our guy who we believe can reach that pedestal to do it. And I do believe he still has opportunity in this series to continue to at least change even the narratives and the most hardened minds against him as a player. But when you look at the progress of this squad and the fight of this team all season, their bounce back against adversity, their ability to know, hey, we did battle. That's where you don't close, and the star power of a Cade Cunningham, that's where you don't necessarily close the door on this team, but it does. It starts with, if Cade's going to show up and at least give you triple-double or close to it, what is everybody else around him going to do?
Yeah.
This was the reason why. People weren't just confident in what the Pistons could do going into the playoffs because of Cade Cunningham. We were talking about, Malik going to get 4 and 5 shimmies a game. Jalen Duran's going to average a double-double. He's going to get a double-double every game and get the stocks up. It hasn't really been that. We've appreciated some of the we talked about, Asar Thompson. I was wondering, is this the playoffs where we see Asar Thompson step towards stardom?
Right.
Or be a little bit more of the same?
Mm-hmm.
And those are things. So when we were going into it, it's not just Isaiah Stewart not being there, but it was all of the other keys to it that have to step up. Because in my opinion, they still have more than enough to have won of these games without B. Stu.
Yeah.
And that's where the spotlight is always going to shine the brightest on the star in Cade Cunningham. And you're hoping that when you get an opportunity in the clutch tonight, and if it's a close game like all of these have been, that Cade Cunningham has a much better last 2 minutes to this game than he did the prior one, especially with talking about cleaning up those turnovers. Because that's where this thing is going to start and end. It's how are you helping yourself versus how are you shooting yourself in the foot. Mm-hmm. You cannot go out there and allow this in crunch time. It doesn't matter if you've won the rebound battle. You cannot allow them, when it's in the clutch moments, for them to be getting the offensive rebounds, for them to be out battling you for your second chance opportunities. Because these are vital and important, and it shows to what level of motor, what level of hustle, and what level of desperation you're playing with. Because what did I see from the Knicks in the last 2 games? Desperation. That's what I saw from them. I saw desperation. And I saw a lot of fight from the Pistons. I'm not going to crush them too much because they've been in these battles.
They fought, yeah.
They have fought. They lost a 1-point game, 94-93, in this era of basketball. That's them going out there and bringing and imposing their identity against a team that's realistically better than them. But it's still a situation where if they go out and they do what I believe they can, which is go out there and handle this game to the tune of a 10-point-plus victory, you're coming back home with this rabid fan base knowing it's just one game for it all. You have all the confidence in the world, but for this squad, I don't believe all the pressure. I think all the pressure is going to consistently be on the Pistons, whether they're underdogs or not, or whether they've had a cute season or not, because they understand what they've let slip away. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm hoping spurs them when we talk about game by game to understand. You dropped one in New York. You dropped one here in Detroit as well.
Oh, yeah.
Directly can point to game 1 and game 4.
Directly.
They should have
almost the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been disappointing, but all I wanted to do with that is to just I don't feel like Cade's lack of help has really been put to numbers like I just did. There have been some great examples, and I want to do one more thing that I found today, and this is one of these is from shout out Locked On Pistons Ku Kahil. He's a big Asar Thompson guy, and I don't blame him for that. But when I talked about Asar's fourth quarter minutes, you might be looking at out of the Beasley struggles, the Duran struggles, the Isaiah Stewart unavailability, the Asar Thompson lack of fourth quarter minutes. You might look at the Asar Thompson one as maybe the one where I was reaching a little bit. But from what I've seen, I understand that offensively he's limited, but Jalen Brunson has been going off in fourth quarters. And JB, do you have that coup tweet about how Jalen Brunson's numbers when Asar Thompson is in the game? Jalen Brunson's stats this series when Asar Thompson is on the floor. Game 1, 6 of 14, 15 points, 50.4 true shooting. That's not a good true shooting, by the way. Game 2, 3 of 9, 12 points, 4 turnovers, 51% true shooting. Again, not a good one. Game 3, 2 of 8, 10 points, 47% true shooting. And Game 4, 4 of 10, 11 points, 50.6% true shooting. And we all know that Asar Thompson, he's not directly on Brunson every single play, but we all know that Asar is the best perimeter defender on the team, and him being out there just gives the Pistons more of a defensive presence, especially knowing that Isaiah Stewart has been unavailable for games 2 through 4. And I'm not saying that it's directly correlated with Asar Thompson not being in the game in the fourth quarter a ton, but Jalen Brunson, this is another tweet. This is one that Koo actually quote tweeted. Jalen Brunson, fourth quarter points versus Detroit in round 1. Game 1, 12 points. Game 2, 14 points. Game 3, 12 points. Game 4, 15 points. He's the first player since 97-98 to score 12 points in the fourth quarter of 4 straight playoff games. Coincidence? Maybe. I just think that when you're down 3-1, first off, Asar can't get in foul trouble, but there were a couple of games where he could have gotten more minutes where he wasn't in danger Will Robinson territory, and I'd like to see that tonight personally. They're down 3-1. Why the F not?
Well, the problem is I think that they're just doing this stuff in reverse. I believe that Asar needs to be the fourth quarter defender on Jalen Brunson. In all of the 3 quarters, like I've been saying, even before the series started, you got to let Asar roam. Asar is best when he's roaming. If he's spending all his time, even think about what you're doing to all of your strengths, right? Asar thrives at being able to play in the passing lane. We talk about where's the transition. Where's the fact that this team was second in the league at scoring in transition off steals. We talk about the fact that this team was able to take blocks and rebounds and go the other way in a heartbeat. Well, when you're taking Asar Thompson away from all of that, you're taking a big part of who your team is, and you're just saying, hey, go out here and throw 4 fouls in the first 2.5 quarters on Jalen Brunson. Now, how effective can you be the rest of the way when it's winning time and you know Jalen Brunson's going to turn up the level of how I'm getting to the rim? That, to me, actually plays better and more into Asar's hands. Because, okay, you know what the assignment is, and we know that he is capable of at least slowing Jalen Brunson a little bit. Even if it's putting fouls. If he's going to score, at least you're stopping the clock. You're able to strategize. You're able to catch your breath a little bit. And that's where I do hope that one of the main strategies of tonight is the Detroit Pistons saying, you know what, let's continue to defend Jalen Brunson man-to-man, because I thought the Detroit Pistons man-to-man defense was epic. Knicks and Pistons aren't struggling. Both these teams are strapping up right now. They're in each other's jerseys. Watch the game, and it's what we should be able to appreciate as supposed Detroit Pistons fans. Unless, Detroit sports fans, unless you guys are that so far disconnected from some of the other good defensive teams of the past. This has been a good Detroit Pistons team. It's just the Knicks have been able to match them without that toughness and that heart and that spirit and that fight of Isaiah Stewart. And that's where I do believe, what do they use Isaiah Stewart for? Be a Tasmanian devil on defense. I've been preaching that since they drafted him. And they were starting, I'm going to say, bring him off the bench. Let him be the Tasmanian devil off defense. I believe you need that element. And right now, the only player that can realistically do that in this roster, in this entire lineup, and do it effectively from the 1 to the 5 is Asar Thompson.
And that's what's so tough, because now you're looking at least in these last 3 games, where Isaiah Stewart can't play and Asar Thompson just really isn't playing in the fourth quarter.
Watch this. So if they go Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, pick and rolls, you don't even – if Isaiah Stewart's there, yes, he's one of your best. He's one of the league's best.
Right.
One of the league's best perimeter defenders and pick and roll defenders. When you have Asar Thompson on Jalen Brunson chasing him around, you know what they're going to do? They're going to go to the other side of the court and pick and roll you to death. They're going to do those different types of things, which puts Karl Anthony Towns in that downhill action against no rim defender, because Stu's not there, and Asar is out on all the way out at half court chasing around Brunson. That's where I'm just like, I don't know how effective it truly is to have him be somebody that can marginally slow him down, but you're paying for it with fouls.
Yeah.
This isn't like the Shaq thing where we're like, well, you know, you got 6 fouls to go. No. People, Eldon Campbell went into the game to foul. Ben Wallace wasn't in the game to foul. Ben Wallace was in the game to make Shaq's life a living hell, not to foul. It was to go out there and play the best defense you could without fouling. Even the blocks we've seen him have on Shaq, it was all ball. There's some of the best blocks you've seen anybody have on Shaq, I think, in history of the game. I'm just going to stamp that.
That's a fact.
And that was the thing. You need Asar to go out there and play, if he's going to be on Jalen Brunson, just good defense. Even if it's physical, and it's smart defense. Not the reach-ins in the half court, not that you just bump into him and that type of stuff, because you know how they're going to call this. And that's where you got a short time to be able to mature defensively in the series, because you're playing against some savvy, experienced people who've already gone through playoff heartbreak. Look, these Pistons this year, if they lose, that's going to be a playoff heartbreak pie that I do believe next season they're going to have that much more to play with.
Yeah.
And you got to think the Knicks have that. They have that right now.
But I was told, like, there are no stepping points if you lose in your first playoff series.
You can't learn from it.
Can't learn from nothing.
I didn't like that take from Steak Dog.
Sorry, people like that should have to be banished to an island. Like, literally banished to an island.
Still no word on Isaiah
mandatory
Stewart.
vasectomies.
Yeah. And Kool-Aid, I don't know if we up against a break. I did want to ask you about one of my keys to victory and something that, you know, we've been – are we just keeping it rolling? Okay.
Yeah.
So one of my keys to victory, and it's something that I brought up on yesterday's show, I get worried about this team when it's strictly half court. And, you know, in game 4, there was a lot of, okay, when they get locked into just strictly half court offense, there's a lot of one-on-one ball, and they don't seem to have a plan. And when they do have a plan, they don't seem to be assertive in executing that plan. And we know that this team has made their bread and butter off running the break most of the year and using that to set up the half court. But in a playoff series, and you got to give the Knicks credit, they've taken that part of the game away from the Pistons. So when that ball slows down and Cade's not out there, let's say, then I really have worries as to what they're going to do. Like, you've seen times where they'll throw it to Tobias in the low post, and he's not decisive on whether he wants to post up, face up, or pass out. Like, there's different
Given
instances.
The spirit of Corliss
but
Williamson, Tobias is posting up against people that he is taller than and has the weight advantage every single time.
Right.
He's not Cat.
Yeah.
They're putting like Bridges and people. I'm like,
and he's just not assertive in those
chicken.
sets. So, but do you have like a solution for what the Pistons offense can do in the half court when they get locked into that?
Yeah, I listen, one thing they have to do is just get into their sets faster.
Yeah.
I know that they want to slow the pace, but when you allow the Knicks to defend you full court, that means that now you're going to start your offense with about 14 seconds on the clock. And if you're trying to go through your methodical pace, you're going to look up real quickly and realize there's 7 seconds left on the clock. And that's been killing them. And that's something that I've seen on the rise, especially in playoffs. They will pick up full court because they know it's going to take off at least 6 to 8 seconds off that shot clock. When in general, usually you pass the ball in and it only takes 4 seconds to get up. So I do believe starting fast, at least getting into your sets a little bit faster, playing with a sense of urgency. These are things that I see that are missing. And then when you're talking about that offense, like even the shot that Cade hit, or shot, and he missed it, and they say it's his shot, it's his in rhythm. I'm more comfortable with Cade doing the mid-range shot, stepping into it.
Yeah.
Not coming off of the spin that he did and put up the shot and then missed off the back iron, because I haven't played in NBA. I've played with pro players, played in Pro-Am, played at college. My shot tends to, and I've seen this with other players too, and when we sat down and helped to profile certain players like Andre Blatch of the Wizards, shout out to him.
Shout out.
Hey, listen, that was one of the things we knew. When you're coming off of that, you're trying to do that fadeaway, our bodies usually try to overcompensate when we're leaning back and you hit that back rim.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm hoping that they simplify things and get back to the basics with the Cade Cunningham. And go back to the game 2 results too. Aggressiveness.
Yes.
Cade Cunningham forced the issue. Cade Cunningham was getting to the free throw line. Cade Cunningham was finishing at the rack. And it didn't matter what they were doing defensively. And remember, that was the game after that OG Anunoby was really, really like sick. Like, yo, no, we're going to figure this thing out. You got to get back to that because you're not winning this game without Cade. You talk about these struggles they're having. It's because they don't have that secondary ball handler that they can realistically play with Cade for a long period of time.
Right.
This is where if Asar Thompson's getting tired out on the defensive end, how effective is he on the offensive end? That's the point. You put the ball in his hands, and now what are they going to do? They're going to get all the way up in his jersey, and he's not necessarily the most adept ball handler. Is he a good playmaker? Yes. But then all of a sudden you see them take 1-2 dribble, bounce off their foot, and it's going the other way. And that's where they're going to have to play, in my opinion, a lot through Cade Cunningham. And the people have to hit their open shots.
It
goes right back to the beginning of this segment. When Cade Cunningham is getting double teamed, you guys got to hit the shot. Because what's happening when he's hitting that lane and he has to second guess? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is he thinking about, he's open, but I'm going to take the shot because I don't know if he's going to hit it? That's not the place you want. You want that rhythm where everybody's just kind of running, you feel that flow. And that's where I'm hoping that they get more into their dribble handoffs. I think their offense is a good offense, but just get into it.
Yeah.
Play with a little bit more sense of urgency. And for players like Ron Holland and some of your energy guys, don't scale back your energy, but make sure you're playing within the flow of it. Because there were a couple possessions that were given away when they were trying to make the right plays, but it wound up being the wrong result.
I am so glad, like this is like music to my ears, that people can actually acknowledge good looks being just clanged.
Yes,
that's a part of basketball.
It's horrible, yeah.
Like is Anthony Edwards more of a killer than Cade because he can mind control Julius Randle's threes to go in when they've never gone in at this clip in his freaking life? Shit like that happens all the time. And obviously I know Anthony Edwards is more of a killer than Cade right now because he has more experience, but you understand my point.
No.
It's that you mentioned the half-court offense. There are stretches where there's really You're talking about Tobias Harris when he gets on the low block, not being aggressive enough. You're talking about Jalen Duren's offensive limitations being more exposed in the playoffs than in the regular season.
Absolutely.
My gosh. Cat got foul number 4 at the beginning of the third quarter, and they didn't throw the ball to Duren once.
Yeah, they didn't go at him.
Whoa.
Bro. Oh my gosh.
I would have took him off the dribble.
We were screaming it from media, dog.
Yeah.
Like, my voice is literally like on the verge. Me, Eric Vincent, and some others. I don't even mean to get like this. I'm just sorry. Just from a strategy standpoint, it was
real.
like,
we was doing the same shit at the watch party.
Throw him the ball.
Yes, bro. And Jalen Duren does have a handle. He can put the ball on the floor. I would have lived and died with that. At the high post, get a screen, go at him.
Like, I would have just given him one of these. After he got that 4th foul, give it to Duren in the post. And the play is, I don't care if you make it or miss it. Just try to put him through the rim.
Exactly.
Just period. They needed to do that at least once or twice, man. It's crazy that they have nobody in the post that they can throw the ball to, like the Pistons had with Corliss Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about how good Rasheed was in the post, and then they're like, get on off there, Corliss Williamson, running pick and roll now with your bench guard and Lindsey Hunter. And that, again, plays back to your aspect of what this team has to do to step up as well.
Well, it's not just Duren and Tobias. It's the fact that when Asar is out there, as much as I love him being out there for his defensive prowess, and he's shown it in those Kuka-Heel stats, those are power stats. Shout out to you. Those are those are like porn to me, for the record. Offensively, I don't think that he hurts the team offensively as much as people say, but
you telling me cool century porn?
No way.
I stole it. I stole it and gave him credit. But
shout out Cuba.
We also have to acknowledge that he has some offensive limitations, and I don't think he's moving without the ball quite as effectively as he was in the regular season. And then, of course, Tim Hardaway Jr., with respect, because he had a amazing Game 3, has been somewhat inconsistent. And he's not always hitting his open shots in the half court as well. And that's what I'm talking about, is that there are moments in the half court where the only effective offense is just, Cade, go do something. And I know that that's what a lot of people want, him just taking 40 shots every game. I still don't think that that's the most effective offense that the Pistons can run. However, at this point, there are times where it's all you really have.
Yeah.
It's all you really had at points during Game 2. It's not all you really had, but a lot of what you had in the third quarter of Game 4. It was just Cade creating magic. I wish that there was more that he could lean on, but unfortunately, too many players are underperforming, as I said. And again, I'm not going to kill the young guys like Duren, but it is what it is.
And that's where I'm like, give him a chance. We didn't get
right.
Duren get the chance. They didn't throw him the rock. And I saw him post heavy a couple times, like literally put his hand up. But and I get it. You got possessions that are at a premium. And that's where I'm like, if this was just run down and give him the rock and it's not part of your normal offense, maybe not.
Exactly.
But if it's a situation where, a couple times in a game, can he go and put some pressure on Karl-Anthony Towns as a
He
defender?
can outpower Cat in the low post.
That's why I wish, because imagine if Karl-Anthony Towns got that 5th foul early in the third quarter.
Yeah, a whole different ball game.
Well, then he might not have been on the floor to make that shot.
Right. A whole different ball game.
I know. I mean, and credit, man, Karl-Anthony Towns, you were brilliant, but
or maybe you get a bigger lead.
Absolutely.
Or maybe you get a bigger lead when Brunson went down.
No, absolutely. I know Chuck Brewer, he had mentioned that when I was talking about Asar potentially being on the floor more in the fourth quarter, that Jalen Brunson's clutch player of the year, he's just making incredible shots. And that's true, but this is where I'm not saying that Asar is the Brunson stopper. I think Brunson has proven enough to where he doesn't have a stopper, but you got to just try.
And I have a question for my guy, Matthew Kruger. He says, I'm so tired of this tired A argument of Cade needs more help. I've been hearing it forever. Okay, then what exactly is Cade? I just want to know, what is the expectation? What is Cade supposed to do tonight to guarantee, from these people, to guarantee a Pistons win?
They're going to say
he needs to drop 40.
Yeah, he needs to drop 40. He's got to drop 45.
Okay, so you're saying then that you believe he is the next great thing next to sliced bread. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
These are the expectations. I just want them to understand what's in their mouth while they're talking.
Right.
That's it. It's like, do you realize what you're gargling right now? Two of them things in there. Deuce, shout out to Cade Cunningham. That's what I'm saying. People are literally saying this. You can lay out exactly the lack of support he's getting right now from a really young players and a ragtag band of forgotten vets.
Yeah.
They said it themselves.
And I'm
JB Bickerstaff said it himself. He was like, bro, we've been through some ish, and nobody wanted us. Bro, Timmy helped the team get to the finals, and they said, hey, sayonara.
Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is. And now Cade has to do what? What is it? Matthew Kruger, let me know what he has to do in your mind. So if he doesn't need any more help, is he scoring 50?
Right.
The buckets ain't there right now.
Like,
is he scoring 60? Does he need to get what? He needs to get 20s in all the stat categories?
It's ridiculous. And I broke it down yesterday. Cade Cunningham, for his first playoff series, is averaging almost a triple-double. 26 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. The next closest person in points is Dennis Schroeder at 15 points. And Sam, you broke it down. Even somebody like a Julius Randle is going out there and giving you 22 and great 3-point shooting.
Who a lot of people thought was done.
Cade needs more.
Yeah.
Like, we got to be real about it.
And credit, and for the record, Julius Randle, he's a level above like the Malik Beasleys of the world. He's been an all-star before, but he's been if you look at Julius Randle's playoff numbers prior to this year, they are vomit water. But this season, I mean, Does Ant-Man get all the credit for that or no? I think it's more of a team game. And shout out to Anthony Edwards. This is no slander. I actually believe that how the year ended, that Anthony Edwards should actually be above Cade in MVP voting, even though I kind of dismissed him earlier. I was wrong. This is not Anthony Edwards slander. It's just that you need more from your teammates. And I broke down numbers earlier. You're talking about the scoring numbers. And shout out Dennis Schroeder, by the way. I don't think we're giving him enough credit. But
he's been great.
More is needed from Beasley. More is needed from Duren.
Thank you.
More minutes is needed from Asar Thompson, in my opinion. Granted, he's not in foul trouble. But the good news is there's still more series left. Do I think that the Pistons are going to come back and win? No, I do not. Do I think they could steal Game 5? Yes, I do. I do.
I do too. I believe that they're going to until you stick a fork in the Detroit Pistons. I'm still gonna hold true to the Pistons in 7, no matter how bleak it's looking right now for them. And it's just because you're seeing how razor thin and how close the series has been. We've also seen the Pistons go on some good streaks this year, but it's different playing a team. This the same team night after night after night.
Right.
This isn't like you're just catching them on a second game of back-to-back. No, this is them being fully prepped, fully prepared, having a little bit more rest, and able to go and say, you know what, we're not tired tonight. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I know as it relates to this young team learning so that they can be even better going into future playoff series, whether it's this year or next year. That's where I want this squad to be able to understand, because they did come into this series believing they had a physical, tough advantage. And obviously that's what's Stu in there. But you know what? We've seen wild things happen before, and the Detroit Pistons have been involved. I remember one Tracy McGrady looking like Jared Goff, sitting back at the podium.
All right.
Feels good to finally get to the second round.
You're right.
And then one Tayshaun Prince emerged. I mean, you couldn't have called the strategy. We sitting here trying to strategize how to get. You couldn't have called it, and that's where I do wonder. When you're talking about the secondary ball handler, somebody we saw play well down the stretch who has not really been able to get a chance is Marcus Sasser. I wonder if he's a guy that they decide gets a little bit of time tonight.
Just a few minutes, just to see,
because
he can be a spark plug. Yeah,
I kind of want to see him playing alongside Cade.
No, absolutely.
And keep Schroeder as your main ball handler off the bench.
That's interesting.
And to give Cade a rest.
His 3-ball, I mean, you need it. That's what this team has been suffering from in this series is the lack of 3-point shooting that we had during the regular season. And that kind of leads me into my other key, Malik Beasley. We got to get something from you the rest of the series, if not, all tonight. Like, it's just been, and I admit I was wrong. I came up here and told y'all that we could possibly survive this series with Malik Beasley struggling the way he has because you have 3-point shooting options in the form of Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Dennis Schroeder occasionally. But I've been wrong, and I will come up here and admit I was fucking wrong. You need Malik Beasley to be the Malik Beasley that he has been all season long, and kind of towards the end of game 4, you kind of started to see him come alive a little bit. I take a little bit of responsibility for that. Shout out, shout out Brother Beasley, but he's got to be better, bro.
We've answered the question. You cannot win with a Beasley slump.
Yeah, you can't win with him slumping like that.
And I feel like if you're Malik Beasley, you're gonna hear what I'm about to say, and it should be embarrassing. And no disrespect to the player that I'm about to mention, even though I can't stand him. Have yourself. Brandon Podziemski gave the Warriors 26 on 6 of 11 from behind the arc. Beasley,
he has a special
you've got to have
one
of those in you.
He was open.
You and Rod crashed out.
My
of
guy. I did. I can't stand Brandon Podziemski, but when he's on, Shout out JB. The Warriors are, I wouldn't say they're unbeatable, but the Warriors survived a game in which Steph had 17 points on 2 of 8 from behind the arc. I get it. Steph's a different animal, but teammates matter so much. And guys like Malik Beasley having such a disappointing series when we were basically caping for him to win 6th Man of the Year, should still do it, by the way.
Yeah.
That matters.
Yeah.
And people act like it's just, oh, Cade's not a winner. Oh, Cade. Oh, you guys are whining about Cade's help. These are valid, bro.
Yeah. No,
and it's his first playoff series ever.
If Beasley was on, we'd be up 3-1. Yeah. I'm guarantee it. If he was on at any stretch of this series, we'd be up.
Because look at the premium on scoring in this series.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a struggle, dog.
Yes.
Multiple games where the Knicks have been under 100 points in this thing.
Yeah.
But
And he's had his attempts.
Yes.
He's had his attempts and good looks. He just hasn't made them.
You know what? Let's take a quick one, and maybe we'll take some calls in it.
Yeah, we got some people calling in trying to field it now.
Wonderful. Let's ride. What friends we saying what up though to JB? We'll double up. Up.
We'll definitely double up. I got to tell them about Jars, and Flannel can tell them about Les Stanford. But first, let me shout out a lot of people sending in super chats real quick. RJ Graham, he sent in $5. He said he's going to the Tigers game in Houston, section 221, row 6, behind home plate
Shout
in
out.
club seats. Wife and I are wearing orange Riley Greene tees, so be on the lookout for them.
Excuse me, JB.
Oh, boy.
Excuse me. Matthew Kruger, you just don't watch basketball, and that's fine. You've admitted it. I'll break it down for you plain and simple. The Detroit Pistons as a team as a whole need to learn how to play some effing defense. They held the Knicks to 94
They might be
points in
number
game
one.
4.
I think they're the number 1 defensive rating team in the
Exactly.
Do you
all
want? Do you want the Knicks to be held to 82, Krugi? Is that what you want?
I'm waiting for the
Krugi.
update. Look, the update's gonna come from the. Listen, I'm gonna put it out there. I'll tweet it out there as soon as it's updated. But I believe
That's
they're
crazy.
number 1
You can look with your eyes and see they playing good
I'm
defense.
sorry. I'm
though.
sorry.
Like,
JB,
what the-
go ahead. That's just point
Don't
and laugh
take
at Krugi for that. Seriously.
And shout out Matt Kruger, man. But you just
Absolutely not.
Today's NBA 94 points is fucking unheard of, bro.
Insane.
Shout out Kruger. Shout out Matt Kruger. $5 from Bird. He said, if we go down, I want to go down with Cade taking 80 to 90% of the shots. I want him to put the league on notice that we're coming, just not yet. And I got to shout out this one, $4.99 from Nasty.
Shout out.
He said, let's turnovers, be a goddamn playmaker, and stop playing sloppy as fuck. And that's
easier
shout out
said
to those
than done.
people. I know.
Yeah.
Easier said than done. Let me tell you about Jars Cannabis, because, all right, sports fans, whether you're hitting the game or simply chilling at home, Jars Cannabis has you covered. They also have you covered with the new Deli Day. To kick off their full deli-style experience, Jars will host Deli Day on May 3rd, offering a stacked lineup of in-store promotions. Customers can receive up a free eighth of flour, $20 value. Take advantage of their BOGO deals on deli-style flour as well. And the first 100 customers will score a free half an ounce. So that's a lot of ounces to go around. The date marks a significant milestone in Jars as their anniversary of the fitting tribute of their retailer opening their first stores in Detroit. For more information on Deli Day and participating locations, head over to jars.com, or you can check them out on their Instagram at jars_life for more updates. And Les Stanford.
Absolutely. Les Stanford Buick at GMC has great offers for everyone. Get a 2025 Envision Preferred AWD for only $259 per month, or try out the 2025 Sierra Double Cab Elevation for only $169 per month. Don't forget about the 2025 Hummer EV SUV for only $699 per month. Get to Les Stanford today and check out their massive inventory. Les Stanford Buick and GMC, lesstanford.com.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Hey, Tony, what's up, bro?
Same circus, different clowns.
For sure. You want the usual, the big zip?
You know me too well.
I threw a little something extra in there for your ma.
Oh,
Hope
man.
she's doing all right.
Ay, guy, sei un santo. You're a saint.
All right, buddy. We'll see you next time, okay?
Grazie.
Dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
At Woodward Sports, do yourself a favor, scan that QR code on screen, use code word Woodward1000. You can deposit up to $1,000, but all you have to do is place a minimum of a $20 bet, and if it doesn't hit, they will throw it right back into your account. Hey, if you bet on the Tigers yesterday, guess what? That 20 is right back in your account to double down today. Use code Woodward1000 and make some money today.
Make some money. What up, though? People in the chat's been electric today. They've been something else. I see you in the chat, Mike Willette. Man, we're gonna have to run into each other at another Tigers game too. But he says spit on that like button a little bit.
Okay.
Hey, yo.
Go ahead and smash the like button.
You know, Sam like it dry, so.
Well, I just don't like the verbiage.
Jeez. You know what?
Spit on that thing.
Why you think she got popular? Why you think she got popular? That's all I'm saying.
No, let's go to the phone lines real quick. Hey, what's that? Throw that phone line out. The phone number out for the people, KG, and then let's get to those callers.
Yeah, don't got the number on me. What is it?
313-552-6322, and it is pinned in the chat.
Yes.
Shout out, JB.
Yeah. Shout out. We got my boy Big Wolf status from the chat on the line right now. Big Wolf, you are on Wake Up Woodward. What's going on, bro?
Big Wolf.
Big Wolf?
Big Wolf, you there, brother?
Big Wolf, going once. Big Wolf, going twice.
All right,
Hello?
Yep.
Hey, Big Wolf, I hear you, brother.
Oh,
You
there he
there?
is.
Yeah, I'm here. What's going on, man?
Hey, what up, though, Big Wolf? Thank you for calling in, man. It's Kool-Aid, Flannel, and the whole rest of the crew, man. What do you have to say today? And listen, you know what the rules are, right? So we got a 24-second shot clock. But the more fire your statement is, or if the chat family is saying give him another 14 seconds, then referee JB Smooth will throw that extra time on the clock for you, man. But what up, though?
Okay, what up, dog? Yeah, man. I mean, y'all talking about the Pistons. They're not that good. You know what I'm saying? They're not hitting their open shots. You know what I'm saying? And Cade Cunningham, he averages like 6 or 7 turnovers a game. They just need to put him on a 2 and just let him somebody out there like the shooter. Just steady have to take the ball.
Hey, your phone, your phone a little choppy,
Yeah,
Brody.
referee said turnover on the play. The ball's going the other way, but Big Wolf, what we could hear of your call, I agree. You want your superstar to your player who you believe is budding into a superstar, trending that way, all-star, to be able to take care of the ball, but sometimes the turnover numbers can be a little bit overblown. You should look more at turnover rate. Obviously, for Cade Cunningham, it's going to be about when the turnovers happen, because you cannot and you don't want to give up any possessions at any time. But in the clutch, we'd rather have a Cade shot than a turnover, obviously. But overall, the 6 to 7 turnovers, when compared to his usage rate and how much he handles the rock over other people, it's not the same. His rate of decline in terms of the turnovers has actually leveled out. So as he's doing more and getting more time with the basketball, his turnovers aren't rising at the same rate. They're actually going down. So he's getting more efficient the more he actually has the ball in his hands. But I do agree with you as it relates to who he is down the stretch. He can't have those careless turnovers. He has to understand the blitzes are coming, and he has to be the player that goes out there and says, I will put my team on my back and I will push them. Because as good as the Knicks are and as talented as they are, Jalen Brunson, he's been able to do that. It's not just the points he scored in the fourth quarter. It's the fact that he's also in only one game did he have, I believe, more than one turnover.
He takes care of the ball remarkably well.
Yep.
Like exceptionally well.
Cade has to get there. He has to.
But he might never get there And that's okay. Like, Jalen Brunson's got alien turnover
He's
numbers.
elite. Yeah, I'm not saying get Jalen Brunson, but I
Yeah.
get it. A lot of people want to see Cade shave off that turnover too, especially the ones that pop up in the you know,
absolutely
in the clutch time.
And when they happen matters a ton. I don't think we can ever expect 0 turnovers in a game. I think if he keeps it maybe 4 or less, that'll give the Pistons a really good chance to win.
Hey, let's rock. Let's get to the next
Yeah,
ball.
thank you, Big Wolf. Appreciate you.
You guys know
yeah,
the rules.
that's-
That 24-second clock about to start.
Yeah, that's all we got. So.
Oh,
Well, thank you,
let's
Big
rock.
Wolf. We appreciate that. And we're going to be doing this more often
I see
moving
the
forward.
time.
We do have Freddie's video if we want to go to that as well,
Yes.
too.
Hey, shout out to Freddie
Shout out
Felt.
Freddie
Thank
Felt.
you, brother. We put up the bat signal, and he answered.
What up, though? Freddie Felt 313 here. I'm a wrestling fan. Shout out Woodward Ringside. JB Smooth, KG, thanks for letting me be a part of it. Tap into us, like and subscribe, and check out all the incredible content. But I'm a wrestling fan. And sports fans, they'll clown me and they'll say, oh, you know, wrestling's fake, right? Oh, yeah, so are sports. Detroit, for whatever reason, has been subjected to years of this torment. And the worst part of it all, we've seen this before. We've seen Armando Galarraga get robbed of a perfect game. We saw the Red Wings drop a back-to-back cup that was pretty much guaranteed to the heir apparent, then next Gretzky, Sidney Crosby. I had to sit there in 2008 and watch, in Game 7, watch 3 of the dirtiest periods of hockey I've ever seen. We could make a 20-minute long YouTube video of the times Detroit Lions have been screwed. Megatron's touchdown against the Bears that was called back. The Seattle touchdown on Monday Night Football where the ball was batted out of bounds in the end zone. The Thanksgiving Houston game with the elbow being down. The Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary at Ford Field, and most egregiously, the 2-point conversion against the Dallas Cowboys. Even the Pistons have been subjected to this bullshit. That phantom call on Bill Laimbeer quite possibly cost the Bad Boys an opportunity to earn a three-peat. Let's face it, we might be a fan of the NBA and the Detroit Pistons, but the NBA is not a fan of the Detroit Pistons. Look at our championship runs we've had. We had no business winning in their eyes. We didn't have super teams with a bunch of superstars. We stood in the way of super teams and superstars. We stood in the way of Magic and Bird, Lakers Celtics dynasty. Hell, even in 2004, we stood in the way of another modern-day Lakers dynasty. What happens? The malice at the palace. What happens after that? We go on the worst drought some of us have ever seen. We've waited damn near 2 decades to see meaningful basketball, playoff basketball in the D. And this is the result. I broke my phone in 2023 when they announced the NBA draft lottery results for the Detroit Pistons getting the 5th pick when Victor Wembanyama was the overall unanimous number 1 pick. A generational changing player that will completely turn your franchise around. What happens? We get the 5th pick. 4 years in a row of the 5th pick. Yet still we rise. Still we overcame adversity. And in the most Detroit way, we stayed the path and we remained resilient and tripled our win total. Something this league's never seen. We finally get a chance to see playoff basketball. And Josh Hart and the refs admitted it to be an actual foul. Yet no consequences will come other than the Pistons dropping a first-round series. That's all that'll happen. Oh, and New York Knicks fans, you can get it too. Jalen flopsing out there, just going up for layups. Cat looking like he didn't wipe all the way and ran out there for the tip-off, like can't even run. And Knicks fans, they want to lecture us and tell us to stop crying. Your entitled-ass, overrated city has been whining about basketball since the 1970s, so shut your bitch ass up. Billy Joel's more relevant at the Garden than the Knicks have been. And Piston fans, too, I don't want to hear your hot takes either. Oh, they're not ready. Cade can't finish. They can't win the big one. This team has led as much as they've trailed in the series. Without Ivy, without Beef Stew, they fought. They deserve the right to compete. They can compete in this series. You know, no Beef Stew, no Ivy. If you ever wonder why Detroit versus everybody exists, watch the end of this game. But this team is not going anywhere. The Detroit Pistons will win a 4th NBA championship, and we will do it as we've always done, the Detroit way. It may not be the easiest way, but it's our way. Detroit basketball till the wheels fall off. I'm out.
I'm fired up, man.
Shout out Freddie, man.
Freddie Felt. We got some legendary chat family members out there. And, you know, it's crazy watching this team over the last 3-4 years in a mode of growing up loving them, but now you're in an aspect of trying to do analysis. You're in an aspect of trying to, you know, in articles present both sides of this thing, even the opinions that you might not necessarily agree with. But in a moment like this, it's just you throw it out the window and you just fired up for what could be for this Detroit sports team that realistically went out there and checked all the boxes and then some on this season and have a good opportunity to still fight. I know what can't be done, and we know what's likely, but I value, no matter how this thing goes, just like JB Bickerstaff said, after some wins and after some losses, it's about the standard. I want to be able to turn on the TV and see Detroit Pistons basketball tonight. That's what I want to see, just like JB Bickerstaff promised. And I do believe that this team is going to be able to go out there and make the series a lot more interesting in Madison Square.
I was about to say, I think a good stopping point might be to just all say what you think happens tonight.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start myself, and then Kool-Aid, you can go. I'll save the man in the room for last. I'll start myself. This definitely has some element of heart overhead. Let me try to be as reasonable as I can. I do think the Pistons win tonight, but I don't think they win the series. I think this is where they just throw everything out there. And Malik, you know what, Malik Beasley, you have no choice.
Yeah.
Give us 20 points or more on 40 or more percent from behind the arc. Do it because you have to. And I'm not going to get too big into the weeds of what I think is going to happen. Just Pistons win tonight, lose the series. Oh, by the way, I'll be on vacation for a little bit after this. So this is my last show I'm going to miss the next, I believe, 8, so I might as well throw it out there. Pistons win this game with a big Malik Beasley game and a big Cade Cunningham game, but they ultimately fall short in the series.
Sheesh. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, that dude, Justin.
I do think they win tonight. I think that they have that mentality that they're going to bounce back. They've shown it all year. They got the grit factor, and I think that they're going to focus in on what's really important. I think they got a little too in that bad boy mantra in the last game, and I think that they're going to just calm down, play basketball, and I expect, like you said, Malik Beasley to have a bounce back game. So I'm gonna keep the faith though. I'm gonna go Pistons in 7. I think that I'll be a slappy. I really don't care.
That's fine.
Pistons in 7.
That's right.
Chase, you got something?
Kavasi, we need you on the wax, bro.
What, for the game prediction?
Yep.
I'm gonna take the Pistons. They're coming back home. Gotta end the home playoff losing streak. I think the Knicks were up 3-1 on the Pacers last year, weren't they? And they went back 7 into the Garden.
They better win tonight. That's all I'm saying.
Not like we haven't seen this before.
They better win tonight.
Yeah. They ain't got no choice.
They have to. Yeah.
They better take care of it tonight, because if not, we're coming back to Detroit and we're getting the home fans a win. And then at that point, it's Game 7. Anything can happen.
Yeah, man. Good.
Yeah.
So they better win tonight. They better win tonight.
Oh, that's big facts. I'm riding till the wheels fall off. I got the Pistons by 4 tonight. I think that the officiating will maybe be more in our favor just based on the bullshit we've had to deal with over the last game or two.
My man KG said I'm riding on rims and flat tires.
You damn right, bro. I'm riding till the bitches fall off, man. I believe
bro.
in my team. I believe in the fight that they continue to go out there and exude even in losses. And I think Cade is going to go out there and have a game, bro. And hopefully we get a better showing from a Malik Beasley and people like that. Pistons by 4, man.
Damn. I guess I gotta agree with you guys too, although I'm leaning towards Flannel. This is a little bit of hard overhead that I'm predicting with this one. I do think the Pistons get the win here tonight, but I think they lose out on the series. Although stranger things have happened in the playoffs as well too, but it kind of just seems like the writing is on the wall a little bit, and we'll be back even stronger next season. But give me the win tonight, and Knicks take the series after that.
And just real quick, I know Flannel Sam, JB Smooth, you guys you believe that the series might be in doubt, or that you've predicted it. Yeah. Do you believe they at least force it to a Game 7?
I do.
Dope.
I do.
What about you,
I think so. You have the firepower to go out there, win tonight, come back to LCA. The fans are going to be behind you. Just pull it to a Game 7. Just do what you can.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I feel, man. I'm gonna ride the Lightning. I'm still saying Pistons in 7, but it's gonna have to be Cade masterclass Cade masterclass for them to win right now. When you're talking
has
about
to be.
losing Stu, and you need the supporting cast to be there. But I do believe this is still going to shape up to be one of those low-scoring games, which does put this in the stratosphere of the game potentially working out like it did in the last one. With the Pistons having a lead, and even the game they won, what did they have to do? They had to keep the lead. They had to stave off a run. And in that game, it was Cade who got some free throws and a shot down the stretch, as well as others. Malik Beasley hit a shot down the stretch. So these are some of the things you want to see when it's tight. No matter what these guys have done all game, you're going to need these guys to lock in. I believe that they will down the stretch, but I do think it's going to take a lot of Cade to do a lot of heavy lifting because you're making up for players. So Detroit Pistons, though, I'm predicting a 10-point victory. I am.
10 points.
I'm going to predict a 10-point victory.
Why not?
Predict a 10-point victory.
All right.
Listen, they've had the recipe to do it, and it's their time to punch that ticket. But I do believe it's going to be one of those kind of 110, 101 type games.
Yeah. Every game's been a dogfight, so.
Yeah. Is that a show?
Real
so,
quick,
man.
I just want to bring up
Let's go
one
about it.
thing,
Please.
and because there's a report that came out yesterday about multiple NFL head coaches did not draft Shedeur Sanders in the first round out of fear that if it did not work out, they would be replaced by Deion Sanders.
Say this one more time. Wait a second.
So, a few NFL head coaches passed on Shedeur Sanders out of fear that they would be fired in replace of Deion Sanders if it didn't go well.
That's crazy.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And that's per RG3, so pretty plugged into the media.
Man,
pretty
that's
wild.
Hey,
That's kinda
Justin,
insane.
in the sports world, that's not out of left field at all, but that's
No.
not what I was expecting. But hey, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I figured I had to bring that up. That's
For sure.
That's insane to me that you would
We're
pass
having problems
on a
with
first round
organizations
talent
right
because you're scared of his dad.
But you also, it's not his birthright to be drafted in the first round.
No, it's
either.
not.
No, it's not.
Cleveland steal the draft.
He should have went. He should have went before round 5. I will
Sure.
say that. That's all.
Off
I'm
of
gonna
his
say.
talent, sure.
The fact that
that's all
Dylan
I'm saying.
Gabriel and Tyler Show both got picked over him is utterly
It
insane.
was so bad. I saw Sanders players, Shedeur fans out there, Lions fans, saying it's the 4th, 5th round. Maybe the Lions should just go ahead and pick him by now.
I mean,
Like,
it was
he got
out
the
there. It was an
back-
option.
What'd you say?
I said it was out there. It was an option. Hell, even I was
when it
rooting for it.
drops that
Round
far,
7.
That's
fuck it.
fire. That's fire territory at that point in time.
Yep.
Sheesh. All right. That's the show.
Yes.
Hey, a lot of overtime this week for the chat family. Go on ahead and smash that like button to support the crew, support the network, support everything we're trying to do. We do have a watch party today for those Detroit Pistons.
Big
and I
Trav.
can't wait. So we're going to start 30 minutes ahead of time. You know, get over
Trav
here. Get over
in
here.
the
Get over here.
building.
Get over here. We talk about you a lot. Hurry up, bro. I'm trying to see if Jesse's out there. I'm sorry, Jesse, if you are. Shout out to Travis right here. We got a pretty solid
The
social
GOAT.
team. You know, that dude Justin is one of those that we very much value. But Travis, I don't know how much FaceTime you get. It's very little. But you do so much
My
for this
GOAT.
network. I wanted to be able to just shout you out, man. Say what up down to the people. No, man, you say what up down to the people.
What
It's
up,
fine.
everybody?
Shout out to
Go
Travis.
Lions, go Pistons. Let's go.
Hey,
Travis is the GOAT.
Here.
he's the absolute GOAT, and it's awesome, man. He crushed it for draft coverage, crushed it for playoffs, crushed it during All-Star Weekend. Shout out to Trav, man. Shout out to the network and just the growth that we're seeing overall. Nick Koloff and others who are stepping into bigger and better. The people holding down all of these different podcasts and new shows like Ringside with our booth, our elite booth and wings here, Fast and Loose, Chase Lounge. So much going on right now. And it's all because of what you guys do to support us. And that's why I plead, smash that like button because it goes a long way for us and it spurs us to do that much more, man. But let's break this thing down. Shout out to our brother, Matthew Broder. Hey, we got everybody else in the building, man. Shout out.
Yeah, man.
And in this elite booth, I'm going to start here with KG, Detroit's #1 draft pick in the building. Rookie of the Year, Woodward Sports MVP as well. What up, man?
Hey, y'all know the spiel. I'm holding in a hot one right now, so I'm gonna get on out of here. But shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody on the desk, my team. I love y'all, man.
My
Let's
man
keep it
said
rolling.
Cold White Castle.
Yep. It's this damn coffee, man. Go Pistons, go Tigers, man. Let's go.
Shout out Woodward Sports MVP in the TV booth.
I'm
JB
like, can we
Smooth.
wrap this shit up?
Yeah, I'm holding in a hot one right now. Yo, I
this
got to
goddamn
go.
outro every time.
I got to go. I'll make it short and sweet for everybody. Go Pistons, go Tigers, go Lions. Even though some of us have questions about the draft, still we support you. We got your back. Tune in tomorrow. I think Justin, you're gonna be on the desk, my guy.
No, KG.
Nope.
KG. Oh, KG's gonna be on this. All
I'll
right,
be back on Thursday.
Yeah, next week I'll be out. What, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. And I know that dude Justin. Hey, have a time, bro. Bring that energy out.
Me and KG, baby, hold it down. It's gonna be a fun time. I can tell you
run the
that.
asylum. Hey, tap in tomorrow. I love you guys. Wouldn't do this without anyone else.
Yo,
hey, we'll go over there right now, man, to the bros of the show. We got first up that dude Justin. What up, though, brother?
Yo, thank you guys. Shout out to you guys in chat. I am very excited. My school year's over, so I am here full time now again. I got to go back up to Grand Rapids today, so I will be out tomorrow as I am going to have my first professional hockey credential as I'm going to the AHL game of the Grand Rapids Griffins to see my godson, Axel Sandin Palenka, have his home debut, and I am so excited. I have been waiting to watch him play live for so long, and also the rest of the Red Wings prospects. So I will have a full in-depth report when I come back, and on Woodward Wings, of course.
So I'm telling the people, man. Yeah, growth. Keep crushing it, brother.
Oh, it's also 3 days ago was my 1 year anniversary at Woodward Sports, and I am so blessed to have this opportunity to meet these amazing people that are at this network with you guys in chat family all the time. I have people coming up to me like telling me that they enjoy the show and that they love the network, and I appreciate it so much. I'm so lucky and I'm so blessed, and it's because of you guys, so thank you.
Hey, what up, though, Kavasi Chase? Thank you, Justin. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, what's up? Hope you guys have a good one. Stay tapped in to the rest of the day, all this content throughout the network. Episode of Fast and Loose should be live on my YouTube channel at 1 o'clock. If you guys want to tap into that, between Big D Energy and Ermanni and Edwards, I think it's like 30 minutes in length, so perfectly fits into your time in between those two shows. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Shout out my dad. Shout out the guys at Seymour Ford. Happy heavenly birthday to Intimidator Dale Earnhardt. This would have been his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Dale.
Yep. And I hope you guys have a good one. See you guys tomorrow.
RF said those two guys look like they got some samples from the sponsors. Shout out to that dude Justin and Kavasi.
I'm sure they did.
Flannel Sam, better the squad, better the network. Woodward Wings correspondent, Red Wings correspondent here, man. Just all sports know. What up, though, brother?
Hey, I know it's bad timing considering the Pistons are in the playoffs, but I will be in Ireland for the next couple of weeks. So I will be gone for the next 8 shows, but boys are going to hold it down. KG and Kool-Aid for the next 3 days, and then but for 3 days next week it's going to be Justin and KG. So shout out to the boys.
Hey, shout out to the boys. It's awesome to see right now. Hey, the Woo crew sticks together. And we support each other. It's next man up, just like those Tigers. It's your boy Brandon Day, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. Go Pistons, beat the Knicks. Pistons in 7. Still, K Cunningham masterclasses. Welcome to NBA superstar, my guy. Shout out to Spinny in the building too, and Brady. Hey, you guys have a blessed day. Smash that like button on the way out. That's right.